No, no.
Live!
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Hash Church, everybody. Bubbleman, the Reverend of Hash, is with you. I've got the General of Dry Sift. And, well, I don't know what we're going to call Horatio. He's just our brilliant friend that likes to do things a little bit differently here. He likes to extract resins with terpenes because we all know that terpenes are safe. We use them on a daily basis. I would drink a nice shot of terpenes, but I would not drink a nice shot of butane. Maybe even a shot of terpenes might be a bit much. Might end up sick. I've heard that. So welcome, guys. Darrin's in the house. Horatio's in the house. We have just gone live, and it's great to be here. It's great to see you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Ooh, coming through the old side. So we got our guys in chat room. I believe that they are seeing us at this point. What's going on with you guys? How's PG and... Where are you out in? You're out in the sort of towards a little out of Vancouver, aren't you, Horatio? Like an hour or so.
Yeah, towards Mission. You know,
yes.
we're all on outskirts, folks.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad to have you guys here in Hash Church for our. What is this? Number 4 now?
It's 5. Yeah, it's 5.
5. Wow.
Yeah.
How did that happen so quick?
Just having fun, man. Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Time does fly when you're having fun. I'm going to start the day with an essay on hashish. This is a book written by Victor Robinson, medical doctor. It's called An Essay on Hashish. I was lucky enough to acquire a signed copy from Victor. This is about a $500 book.
Nice.
He signed it in 1928, August 29th, if you see the signature there.
He signed it for you in 1928?
No, I did not exist at that point. With greetings to my old friend George Palmerson from Victor Robinson. So, yeah, it was about a $500 book, but what I wanted to read was just a short little excerpt from this book. I believe it was from the original copy of this book, second edition, if you can imagine. The original copy on this book was printed in 1912. Now, Victor wrote a variety of books. He wrote an essay on hashish. He wrote Pathfinders in Medicine. He wrote Don Quixote of Psychiatry. He wrote Pioneers of Birth Control and the Life of Jacob Henlil. So here we've got a short little poem on hashish, and I'll read it. And now, borne far through the steaming air, floats an odor, balsamic, startling. The odor of those plumes and stalks and blossoms from which is exuding freely the narcotic resin of the great nettle. The nostril expands quickly, the lungs swell out deeply to draw it in. Fragrance once known in childhood, ever in the memory afterwards, and able to bring back to the wanderer homesick thoughts of midsummer days in the shadowy, many-toned woods, over into which is blown the smell of the hemp fields. At the mere vestibule of the temple I could have sat and drank in ecstasy forever, but lo, I am yet more blessed. On silent hinges the doors swing open, and I pass in. Let us smoke! My screen is minimized. I don't know what that means. Hey, Bubbleman, your screen is minimized. Well, don't worry. It'll work out. We're all here to puff. Just trying to figure out the logistics. I get every once in a while thrown off by a person giving me a tip on something that's maybe not working properly in the chat, and then I kind of go into troubleshooting world. But I am now going to smoke after reading the kind of trippy to think someone was writing shit like that 100+ years ago. Don't you guys think?
Oh,
Just ripped on the hash.
People were getting so into it that they wanted signed copies.
Fuck yeah.
Right? All right, just hit the doghouse. The doghouse is a new unit from Pooking Bee, and the guy really loving this little quartz dabber. And the quartz dabber just fits inside the hole, carbs the hole simultaneously, and gives real nice hits. That was just me cleaning off my dabber. Because a clean dabber is a healthy dabber. All right. I'm going to go check out my Facebook chat to see if anyone has asked to come in. Because we often get people asking to come in on the Facebook chat. Oh, no, not so many. There's Johnny B. Maybe we should offer it to him. I think he said he's been trying for a while, but maybe if we send him a new link, he might be able to get in. We'll see what happens. All right.
Well, he's not coughing on me.
Ooh, Bobloke is puffing on Pot of Gold, the Pog, an old classic from the Eddie's Flying Dutchman. However, I believe a lot of the work on that strain was actually done by Robert Connell Clark, something a lot of you may or may not know. He wrote the book Hashish and he wrote the book Marijuana Botany, and believe it or not, he is not just a scholar. He knows how to breed. It's always nice when the guys writing the books know what they're doing. Wouldn't you say, Horatio?
I think those are the only people that should write books, really. I mean, but unfortunately, the best guys are usually so unique of characters that they can't write. And the guys that write books, well, don't know jack shit. So, yeah, it's nice.
And believe it or not, he is not just welcome, Dane and John. Just going to mute your mic real quick, Dane, until you can mute the video. How's it going, Brent? Over John's shoulder. We are in Hash Church, and I think it's time for another bowl. I really do. Dane and John and Brent just got here, and fuck, I haven't smoked a bowl with them yet this morning. And I haven't smoked a bowl with all these other wonderful people, like the Colorado Grower, St. Thomas, Ryan Deal, Shane Jans, Positive Vibes, Lawrence04981, the Chemist Scholar, and Rob Payne. L's Rocks. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming to Hash Church. We welcome you, and let's fucking get this party started. Sweet Skunk Dry Sift for the win. All right. That is a mic mute moment, John. When you go to move your stuff, that is when you mute your mic first, because it's so sensitive. We pick up all the sound in Hash Church. Welcome the 195 viewers that are in church right now with us. I hope you guys are all blazing something somewhere, somehow. Sure would put a smile on my face. And I love all these hilarious Catholic sort of jokes that we make about Hash Church. Congregation. Congregation. That's what we're doing. We've started the congregation. Not to be confused with Haiti. Not that we have anything against Haiti. I'm sure one day I would love to go to Haiti and make some wonderful hash. What do we got going on there, Dane? We got some sour bubblegum, strawberry sour bubblegum, fresh frozen, 90 micron. I'm guessing our good friend Jibs John Bury made that. He is a wonderful hash maker. Fucking wonderful guy, really. I've only got to hang out with him on a few occasions, but in a sense, I've only got to hang out with Dane on a few occasions, and I feel like he's like a good buddy. That happens when you travel, though. You can unmute yourself if you got something to say, Dane.
I was just saying, I call them gibbers.
Gibbers. Hell yeah.
Now,
I wish you could show up.
If I'm unmuted and you talk, can you hear yourself through my speakers?
No, I have my shit all dialed and set up properly, but the odd time, depending on how you have it set up, yeah, you can get that sort of reverberation, but we're real straightforward here. If there's reverb happening with anyone, we let them know. I'm able to mute anyone's mic, so that's easy. All right, Matt has got a nice Sweet Island Sweet Skunk and Veg. I have got a no island, just Sweet Skunk. Let's go over something here in Hash Church. There are two Sweet Skunks in the world. There is the original Sweet Skunk, which was collected and maybe hoarded by a few. I know the few people that collected Breeder Steve's Sweet Skunk. One of them was Chimera. I know that strain was given to Matt the Great Gardener via Chimera, and he was told, you know, do whatever you want with it. Of course, as you would say with a strain that you're giving away, because let's just face it, you don't control the strain, and it's really not up to your ego to decide what people do or don't do with it. It's just weak sauce. We've all done it. We've all been affected by prohibition in a negative way. But if we can accept that that's something that's been put upon us rather than something that's really a part of us, it'll be easier for us all to let that go in the future when it's important that we just share everything with everyone. There's no elite people that deserve strains over anyone else. Everyone deserves strains. Like now that we know it helps small children with epileptic seizures, just imagine when you tell someone, I'm going to give this strain to you, but you can't share it with anyone. And now because you said that, there's a little kid having seizures just outside of that person's community, like maybe connected one or two people, whereas that strain could help them. And I'm not talking about growing and selling something to a person that's your client, that's helping you pay your rent. I'm talking about giving them the fucking thing that they need to have a better quality of life. Am I the only person that thinks this is a normal way of thinking? I can't be. It's impossible. I don't believe it. What do you have to say about that, Horatio? I see you laughing.
You want to get me started. Don't get me started on the things like I'm that person that needs that, and I don't have it. I'll give you
everything. I'll give you everything and anything I have, my friend. It's all yours.
Well, I mean, we're looking at like the hunt for the antispasmodics in the cognitive zone when it comes to those spasms.
Right.
And we don't really have, we're developing it in Canada. We have some things, but for instance, the Stanley brothers have it. And
they think they
have
it.
They had their Harlequin that they developed into a niche that they changed the name and gave it its Charlotte's Web Kleenex branding that makes us all, oh my God, if we don't get the Kleenex, then it's not paper.
But do you believe that particular profile helps that many epileptics, or if it helped Charlotte and she was the media story? I give more of the credit to the phytocannabinoid profile than the actual breeding of any one strain. I just believe it's there in cannabis. The more we give these strains out to more people, the more they'll play around and cross and do
that's exactly it. I mean, the Stanley brothers were like the first Tony, so they've had it to play around with it first. Now it's like, well, I'm over in Canada and I can literally see by the mountain peak 10 more strains that I'm like, well, I never tried ACDC, I never tried this, I never tried that, because of that same whole genre and demographic of hoarding.
But
I mean, it doesn't have to be, we use the epileptic strain to really, show it off, but I mean, what if we all needed Girl Scout cookies? That's a perfect example. If Girl Scout cookies was the terpene profile relieved anxiety and it just stopped road rage, just something simple like that. That's a perfect example of high price to the point of nobody even looks at it for medicine because we can't play with it.
Because here's the thing, Horatio. Now, I think that we're getting into a really interesting topic, and it's the split of the cannabis world. It's cannabis trying to split away from the prohibition-based modality that it's existed within for the last 40-plus years. It's splitting away, and it's falling more into this sort of medical, but also recreational and preventative are in there. Everything's on medical sides. It's basically we're peeling the plant away from a modality that it used to exist within, and now it's being birthed into a new one, and it's very confusing because, cannabis cups, for example, they don't really do anything for patients, in my opinion. They are all about the prohibition model, what looks the best, what pumps the ego, what's like, yeah, man, I got the best shit, It's like that's the vibe behind all of this stuff, and so because of it, it seems dichotomous to say the least.
Well, it got weird because as we switch over to medical, we have the grassroots side, which is like, each one teach one and take it, but then in the middle of that, there's this guy with a fake hoodie on that's like, yeah, I need that for my corporation, and we're going to run to the government and say we found it, developed it, and lock it out. So there's this new race to hoard for pharmaceutical purposes that seems like a repeat of history, and there's just, even us in Canada, in a few weeks we could all lose our rights if for some reason the injunction goes wrong. It then goes back to just a few people having access to everything, and that same hoarding control. Like, I don't really know what to do if we don't, as grassroots people, are allowed to continue growing our own so that we can share.
Well, I think that that sharing is regardless of the law. We just have to not go back to being so afraid. See, what they do is they give us the perfect excuse not to share, which is like, it's not safe, I can't put myself at risk, I gotta just keep all this shit to myself. You know, I got to go on YouTube and blast anyone that shares. You know, like, I got to tell people that have been shared, hey, whatever you do, don't sell that shit to a dispensary. Like, what is this mentality that good people are being affected? It's almost like a virus. And then because of that virus, the greed virus is always the virus that makes it so we don't, like, oh, that guy was my friend and now I don't like him anymore. It's like, well, really? Just because he got hypnotized, or money hypnotized both of you? And it kind of like, it's like money is such a virus that it causes this sort of great disdain in friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
So I think money is a big part of it right now because it's prohibition-based and they're flipping it. It's peeling back into this recreational, medical, and preventative. But now the profit margins, we thought we were going to see the herb drop, and now we realize it's never going to drop. They're going to keep these prohibition-based prices. They're going to go higher and get more money for nutraceutical and pharmaceutical versions of these products. And it's just, I often feel that we're in a board game that we can't, it's like having an opinion from watching the news. No matter what, your opinion will be crafted by them, even if you think it isn't, because you're like way smarter than the news and you're intelligent.
I watch 3 different opinions a night.
You know, like, it's just an interesting topic. Does anyone else have anything to say about this madness we're talking about? Johnny and Darrin and Dane, you guys are just sort of
taking it all in, man. Getting educated.
Well, I understand why people can be scared, because you look at it and you're like, well, this pharmaceutical world, we really don't know jack shit about, and they make paperwork and all of a sudden we're out. So with everything coming up and no one really knowing how to make that transition to get there, it's like a bunch of people just stabbing each other with their flags that they're staking on a beach that they don't know belongs to a greater country that's left it idle, which is the legal world.
Right. Well put.
I guess that's kind of why everyone gets so panicky and we're killing each other with our stake flags.
I want to say there's room for everybody, though. There's room for both. There's still a lot of people, especially in my country, that won't touch cannabis because of the culture around it. If they were given that a dose in a mainstream form that they're used to, they would totally take that. So I think it's up to us now to preserve the culture of cannabis to this point and make that available and present to people who want that, but at the same time offer a pharmaceutical quality medicine that's been isolated and separated and causes the same effect every time to Americans or patients or people around the world, whoever who needs it. So I think there's going to be a market for both medical and like cultural recreational use.
Excellent.
Well, I'm not against that. I guess it's the fact that for some reason in America, the way you got to be a part of that pharmaceutical medical seemed like regular people like us could get involved, where I guess in Canada it's like, oh, if you don't have a PhD in 3 things that have nothing to do with hash, step back. I guess that's why America seems more inspiring. It just seems like Tony and all of you guys, it was a simpler thing, and it grew from, you know, kind of like a couple of buddies in a greenhouse going dispensary to a dispensary going medical, where what I guess our country's still just a couple of cities with a couple of dispensaries, and that's it. It's not really a BC-wide or a, you know, statewide, or like it is in Colorado, Denver, or Washington, or even what California has. It just seems, I guess it's more people.
It's you don't give everybody a choice. It's now you have to shop through, I guess, a government sponsored supplier, whereas before you used to be able to choose from growing it yourself or the government, or like, how's that going on now?
If it's free, it's free.
Well, that's what's in, hopefully, court for the win versus the loss. But I guess that's the scary time we're going through in Canada.
That's the scary time indeed. That's what we're waiting on right now, Dane. And I'll just let everyone know that isn't familiar with Dane. Dane works over at River Rock TV, runs the YouTube channel there. Also, you know, just involved in the cannabis scene in Colorado, and has traveled with myself and Tony to a few different countries and helped us out with filming and editing and whatnot. So we welcome him in the room. And yeah, here up in Canada is the big worry. You know, we've got the worry of whether we're going to be able to continue to grow. I mean, even still, I can tell you, you know, I recently had my car stolen, of all things. I had my car stolen, and I was forced to deal with the police. It wasn't super uncomfortable. I found them to be quite helpful, actually, when I didn't think that they were out to get me. However, at one point, I was told that they might come by my house, and at that point, I started like, oh, I shouldn't have these plants out on my deck. You know, like, I'm not over my numbers by any means. I'm probably only at half my numbers. But still, for a second, I thought, like, oh, these guys could come, maybe make a mistake, not know what they're doing, kill my beautiful Congolese plant, or whatever.
Yeah, judgment is coming.
Yeah. So judgment never came, and judgment was fine, and I dealt with them on the phone. But it still made me think that we're still not quite out of the woods with this plant. As long as... I mean, I guess the bottom line is this. They see the incredible value of cannabis, and that's why they kept it illegal for the longest time. And now that it's legal, keeping in mind cannabis being illegal generated them billions of dollars. It generated billions of dollars for the mainstream, for the governments, through all the different jail and court and police, and it generated an enormous amount of money. How much money they stole from growers, and so you know that's they want to protect that at all costs. But I think now they're being told by the big boys, don't worry, we got something more profitable in the pipe. And now what's coming down the pipe is you know is this cannabis that's like this legal cannabis. Is cannabis going to be legal for all, or is it going to be legal for only LPs? I personally wish LPs and personal growers and dispensaries, I personally wish all of us worked together. Because if you can think of them as half on one side, the evildoers who are trying to crush us, and then on the other half you have all of us, like Horatio was saying, trying to plant our independent flags rather than working together. And so what we do is we dilute our own half. So how are we to go up against their half, which is non-diluted, concentrated, and working as one entity, when we are all broken up and non-unified into 100 different fucking piles that none of them on their own can take on the giant that is that one, just that one simple, their mission statement is simple: crush cannabis, control cannabis. Our mission is fairly simple as well, but I think that their power over us is the prohibition, and how prohibition allowed us to be tricked into greed, into this understanding that, like, yeah, I grow weed, I sell it for three grand a pound or whatever, it's totally worth it. It's like $3 a pound, that's like an ounce of hash. I would never in my life pay $3 for an ounce of hash. That is an utter and complete fucking ripoff. Anyone that thinks it isn't is insane. They've been brainwashed by the government themselves. It's great to make profit, don't get me wrong, but that is an enormous amount of profit to make off of a plant. Like I hear people say this all the time, Horatio, that they're not going to, you know, growing's not even worth it anymore. I can only get $1,000 a pound.
They say that so that more people quit, so that they can get $3,000 a pound. And you know, and then say they grow medicine for the people.
Why not just grow the quality of the weed so it's worth that?
There's this line where, yeah, it's worth that because they hoarded it and you can't get it. So
yeah, you can't get the strains you want, and that's why people don't want to share.
In the coast, that's how it gets to $4,000 a pound. Hoarding.
Oh, yeah. Hey, it used to be $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a pound.
Well, at least that was under gunfire. Yeah.
Well, it was under 10-year mandatory minimums. If you really want the price of herb to go up, just lobby the government to change the laws so that everyone gets a 10-year mandatory minimum, even if they're caught with a joint. And trust me, you'll get $10,000 a pound. But who the fuck wants that?
Well, Well, I remember those times. I
do too, very clearly. I remember paying $5,600 a pound for fucking mediocre dope up in Prince George, and still making some money off of it.
Do you remember when four guys laid a dime bag? and get wasted. Tolerance was really low.
Hey, I lost video ratio. Yeah, that is glitching out on me. I lost ratio.
I lost your video too. Oh. There's John. Blasting around in there. I can hear him.
Dude, what's going on? Everyone dropped.
Somebody better hold down the show. Real quick.
Will we lose Bubbleman?
When you go through your whole life, pretty much paying, during those times, paying those types of prices, struggling through that time as well, but making it, and then you get to the times of it like this, and it's down to $3 a pound of absolute quality weed, not just your run-of-the-mill. Oh, I can't get more than $1,000 for this stuff, but people spending the times, people spending $80,000 to put their one grow room in that has 50 lights in it, and with every bell and whistle on it and everything else. So they spend that kind of money. They do that. They take the time to actually grow it right. They take the time to let people do the trimming right instead of putting it into machines and roughing it up like that. And it's when to me. I don't mind paying the amount for quality as long as the quality is there, and it's not sprayed with anything, it's not touched with anything, it's done 100% right, and organics or however they want to do it, just as long as it's done perfectly on their level, so that when I can get the sugar leaf and I can make the hash out of it, I get good quality hash back because the resin heads are fat. They're not falling through the 73 screen. They're there. So I'm getting my quality that way. But the people that are using it for medicine and smoking it and using it and they're cooking and everything too are also getting that better benefit as well, compared to the guys that are mass producing it, growing 1,000 pounds at a time and doing it, or even 100 pounds at a time. These guys are doing it to.
But here's the real sort of thing. What you're talking about is standardization, and you're right. But the majority of people aren't doing it. For instance, how many growers do you know that do microbial testing on their cannabis?
I don't know any of them that do that. I actually haven't yet.
Exactly. And that's the standardization that patients are paying that money for. Not that they're doing everything right. Doing everything right is testing for microbials and molds and like things that can endanger the person who's using the product. Cannabis plant matter is incredibly hard to standardize. I think it's going to be 1,000,000 times easier to standardize the resin, which is easier to look at, easier to test and see whether there's, cannabis is like this, like it's almost like flypaper just hanging, and just it attracts bugs, it attracts molds and mildews and pests and diseases. And in my opinion, for people to pay a price for cannabis that involves, like what I would consider a prohibition-based price, that $1,000+ a pound price, then they're going to want to get that. They're going to want to get those lab tests. Those. How's it going, John? That's just my opinion, of course.
Have those done? If we could have those lab tests done and everything like that,
well, you can,
in the right direction, and that'll be done.
You
because
can. But it's expensive.
If you do everything the correct way, I would automatically think that once we got it tested, if everything was done right, with your HEPA filters going into your room to catch the spores of your molds and everything that's going on, you can. It should be pretty damn close to the good quality that we're looking for.
But you wouldn't believe the cost on that, Darrin, is what I'm saying. Like any money that you're actually making selling the herb just is gone once you do those things, and it gets to the point where you'd actually be now potentially losing money to get that available to people.
Well, what if a person's reputation of getting it done 2 or 3 times and it being itself passed every time, that person should be able to go on that reputation and have a good standing, so that the people that are taking that as medicine and stuff will go, you know what? That guy's been tested so many times. This stuff's been tested, and it's come back so good every time.
Well, it has to. I mean, honestly, for what you're talking about on like, what I'm sort of saying is the ultimate standardization, what patients actually deserve and why they would pay a higher price for that standardization. Standardization isn't to test a few times and then say that guy's good to go. Standardization is to test every single time, because you never know. You never know where your mistake is going to come from. Isn't that what you would sort of agree upon, Horatio?
Well, I mean, I'm looking at it from that absolute standpoint. I mean, one, I got to go back and touch on the whole reason why, yes, isolating the resin heads and then just being able to standardize that is in of itself a way to standardize an unstandardizable product. I deal with pretty much every grower in the stratosphere and experience out trying to standardize and understand that same random product. Through my filtration of those fats and waxes, I see every different nutrient lie. I see the delusions of, it's flushed. And I'm like, yeah, but here, this color is clearly, I'm seeing blue in my filter every time I get this result, and this result is no good and nonsense. And so when I look at it, I'm like, yeah, the bottom line is for me to produce easily a product that I could go, yes, that's standardized. Yeah, I think if there was such an LP for hash, I could apply myself and get approved. I do have to pay $2,000 a pound to find the few people who are going to the same standard of excellence and then reward them. Otherwise, if you just lower your standards and try to save $200, there's all hell breaks loose. Bacterially, mold, all of those things that you experience. If you have to deal with cleaning resin from multiple people, you see how, well, even this great grower, he had a bad week, or he had a bad room, or he had a bad site, or he had a bad filter go off. That's why it has to be tested every time. Just even me bringing in stuff, I'm like, I'm the closest thing to testing multiple weed at every time to standardize, even just to look at it as a oil, and I'm like, this is out of control.
On a simpler note, back in the 90s, in the late 90s, when I started Fresh Headies and started doing bubble bags, I would acquire trim from people, good friends of mine, and they would give me the trim, and often it was wonderful and great, and the odd time it would have this incredible sulfur taste like matches. And at the time, nobody knew what was going on. I figured out eventually that it was Defender, which is it's standard knowledge today, but back then it was not. I learned how to test for it by grabbing a small amount of the herb and lighting it with a lighter, holding it under my nose while I closed my eyes, and I could usually catch the hint of a match. Welcome, Greg. I could usually catch the hint of a match, and I would really know that this product had been sprayed with sulfur, and that the sulfur product was passing through to the final product, i.e. the hash or the oil. I used to have to throw a lot of hash away, and what I was super surprised about was once I learned about Defender and I started getting trim from people, I would be like, hey, was it sprayed with sulfur? And they'd be like, oh yeah, and I'd be like, okay, we'll just keep it. And then it got to the point where my friends were like, no, it wasn't sprayed with sulfur, and I was like, are you sure? They'd be like, no, listen, I fucking know for a fact this was not sprayed with sulfur. And then I'd take it home and I'd run it, and it had been sprayed with sulfur. And these were like good buddies of mine, like basically like lying to me unwittingly because their guy told them, like sworn on his mother's grave. And it's just like you can see how that's not a standardization. A standardization is, guess what? If you're fucking lying, we're going to fucking catch you, and you're going to look like a dummy. That's what standardization is about.
All right, so you can imagine in this day and age where it's kind of like you find that, you discover that, and then it kind of it comes and then it goes, and all of a sudden I'm like, no, people don't talk about that anymore. Well, when I say I lost 60% of all of what I've done, it's for that same phenomenon, and it goes sulfurs, neems, all kinds of other unflushes.
Neem's a bummer.
Well, I mean, neem's a standard bummer, but it's the same thing. It's destroyed all the relationships. I'm like, you're my good friend, and you swear this is clean, you swear this is organic, and unfortunately, I lose a lot more time, equipment, and resources than you have when I get burned by this, and it's
yeah. My Jamaican contacts were so much more honest. I was just like, did you spray something on this? And they were like, yes, man, me spray deadly chemicals. And I'm just like,
spray it well.
don't do that. Remember that shit, Dane? Dane, you puffed some. Remember the hash we made up at the house?
It was pretty bad, man. So I mean, you were able to turn some of it into some workable product that did bubble down, but some of the boxes, yeah, it was rough.
It was rough. It was rough. So you know what? It's a long road that we have ahead of us. Is all I'm saying. I'm not against. I want everyone to be able to grow. The more I grow, the more I realize, wow, it's a lot. I have to be really anal and really OCD to keep my plants clean and healthy and happy, and then extract that resin and keep it properly dried and then cured, and then like the whole process is so much work. Of course, I would love to do that for my living, but it has to become available to people because there's no way the majority of people can do that on their own. That's just unbelievable. And you know, do your family and your business and your life and all these other things. It's an enormous amount of work that I think is fueled more by people's passion than anything.
Well, I guess maybe it's just our country, the fact that it's clear we can't become LPs, where in Washington or other places, the equivalent of an LP is River Rock, and you can. I mean, there's 800 applicants who thought, well, yeah, we can become an LP too. I can have a mom and pop shop where I get my stuff tested and everything will be okay. It's just in our country, it's clear that wasn't the case, because when it comes to testing, yeah, I'm the only person in Canada that's gone to the top lab in America and got that, yeah, this guy's good, but it's the same thing, like, it's one test to say that the standards I live by, I try to maintain, but it's not a guarantee that
the problem
I can stop every piece of bud that comes in through my system. I mean, that's why I try to work extremely hard, but I'm like, it would be sure a lot easier if I could do this end of test, do this end of test, then validate a process, and it would go, my life would be a lot faster.
I would only add that, of course, using one lab is another, you know, problem. You can't only test in one lab. You always have to test in 2 or 3 labs. It's called redundancy, because the same way your standardization could have dropped in your grow room, their standardization may drop the day that you get your tests done in their lab. That's why you want to have tested in multiple labs, never just a single lab.
Well, I mean, that's kind of why we look and we go, okay, there's clearly 2 places that are setting the tone that all the other labs have to live by. And I luckily got invited into the lab to learn about that whole, wow, this is, wait a minute, they're having the same day at work I'm having, and if he bumps that into that, the lab results are incorrect for the day.
There
so
you go.
Exactly it. That's kind of why I'm like, wait a minute.
And listen,
my lab, and most people don't have my lab, so
I've been in labs.
Humans.
I've been in labs, and I've watched these guys do their testing. I was at Tilray while they were learning their new DC machine, and I'm listening to them go, hey, what's that spike? What's that? Oh, I think that's CBD. I literally heard the guy say, I think that's CBD, like 25 times.
They're just spikes they're reading. They're not omnipotent scientific gods, and their industry is
worse, Horatio. They're actually someone who has not been testing cannabinoids for the last even like 6 months. They literally just started testing for cannabinoids. And I would just think ideal situation is that you hire someone that has some background in that. I guess I should say welcome to Greg and to Luke, who just got, and Hal, who's kind of hiding. Hal and his buddy. I see half of Hal and half of Hal's buddy. So there they are as well. Hello, Hal and Hal's buddy. There you guys are. So welcome, a couple of new dudes to join the chat with us. I don't know, Horatio and I are just shooting the shit. Darrin and I, we were talking about standardization and the sort of, you know, the sort of intense differences where we're headed if we, in a perfect world. You know, in a perfect world, we would all have awesome, pimped out labs that we had access to. Welcome back, Johnny B.
Hey, Mark.
And we could just get our shit tested in. Yes, sir.
With the standardization process, like you were talking, now with it being expensive, that sort of thing. On one hand, being the connoisseur that I am myself, fine smoke and fine hash and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
And like yourself, you can make a product that someone has made, and you can sniff it, and you can play with it, and you can tell if it's good or not before you smoke it. And then when you smoke it, you can even tell even beyond that. So
Absolutely.
the standardization process that we can have in our own brains, being the connoisseurs that we have, that we are, with 20 plus years of smoking and driving around, literally when we were when we're 15, 16 years old or 20 years old, driving around town to 10 different dealers to find that 1/4 ounce of good quality.
Dude, I'm totally with you, and I agree. I agree on that 100%.
So we can standardize that our own self with our own connoisseur brain. That once we look at the products, we get our microscope and we do our own process, we can tell if it's good or not.
But that is connected to your ego, and the testing is connected to science. What do you think an old lady who's like looking to get a medicine is going to be more secure with her standardizations? You telling her stories from... That's all I'm saying.
I agree. I agree 100%.
Bioassay is on 9 out of 10 times. The science, just like a background, like it's just security for like what normal people who aren't a part of the cannabis industry will feel comfortable with. The standardization that they know when they get something, A, it doesn't have like mold, or that it wasn't sprayed with some heinous fucking chemical, or that it wasn't, you know, like, I don't know, like any other variety of things that they can test with simply with a machine, get a couple of different dudes to do it. It is a little bit of a cost, but in the long run, man.
Proof, period, right there.
Well, it is.
Like,
It's scientific proof.
D's like, look, it's just like no one would say, look, I don't need a test to know good, fine. It's like 200-year-old wine. You can't open it and like we're gonna test it now. Oh, it's no good. You're drinking it. You're drinking it. But at the same time, there's a reason why we have recalls on beef by the ton loads, because some test, says, hey, all those trucks that went out are going to kill a lot of people. So those are two different markets, and that old lady's trying to, dab on full melt hash, then she didn't go to an LP to get it. So those are two different worlds where we just kind of, it's like, I don't want it to become so tested that I can't try some unregulated hash that I have to bioassay. But when it's like he should be allowed to take his connoisseur sense into forming a company that's more like wine, where it's like, no, I know growing these grapes with these blah 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 is what makes that taste, and my market chooses. But if wine became a medicine for hearts and old ladies needed it in doses, that's a whole different story, and she shouldn't be dabbling in the taste of that wine.
It fits into so many different categories. That's why it's so hard to peg down. Like I am definitely all for the connoisseur, like being able to look and test. The only thing I'll say about that is each connoisseur, as they acquire levels, believes that they are at the top of their field. They believe that they know what the best hash in the world is, or the best weed, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And until I met the Skunkman Sam, and he shattered all my beliefs on just how good his hash was, and how much it was shaming all of our hash, I just couldn't fucking believe it, dude. I was literally like, oh my God, like I thought I knew what the greatest hash in the world was, and then I went to this guy's house and he just fucking destroyed me with hash that of course he grew, he made, he isolated, and it's like I just couldn't believe it, Horatio. I was literally like, that shook me to the core of my belief system of herb. I just kind of left there going, okay, so his shit is just like 100 times better than everyone else's. Like, how does that...
who do I get bud from, and what's the point of anything if he's just gonna? I live always in that sense of, look, there's always a guy that's in the back of the room and he could shatter you to pieces if he wanted to. So shut the fuck up, because you never know who that guy is. I mean, usually I'm that guy in the back room looking at other people talking, but I'm like, I never talk, so I'm like, look, my day is coming. There's always that guy, and it's because there's always somebody who's willing to understand deeper, go further. It's just like, I'm going to grow because I'm so sick of, basically I'm bankrupt over those losses from bad growers. And then them passing their stuff on to middlemen who are trying to do their best for you, and then they end up screwing you because it's time and money that you lose, which is more money. that you can't buy back. So
True.
I then go into growing, and I guess I'm I'm the person that's, I guess, defective like Skunkman Sam. I'm like, well, I can't just grow weed and process it. I'm like, I have to tweak the game from every step, every level, because I know it makes a difference. And then one day I'll find out if I'm that dude that blows people's minds. So I love knowing that ethic is true. If you're deeper, the more deep you go, the more levels you understand, the more you can make a product that.
Think of how Skunkman Sam, like, we're all in these situations where we're like, oh, if I could do that or if I could do that. Well, Skunkman Sam from a very young age knew what he wanted to do, and he knew how he needed to get it done. So he went and literally did each step, which was traveling the world and living in each hash-producing country and collecting genetics from those hash-producing countries based on what Darrin was saying. Definitely not GC testing, but his olfactory, his connoisseur ability to test and smoke strains and hash and meet the growers and find strains and look for things that other people were completely clueless. He was doing this 35 plus years ago. He lived in all the hash producing countries. He collected genetics from all of them, and then he knew, how will I be able to work with these genetics to breed the strains that I want to breed? Well, he knew that he would have to do it in a model of a pharmaceutical model. He started a pharmaceutical company, and that's basically, that's the importance of his work, is that he was able to figure out what he needed to do to get it done, rather than do it half-ass or whatever and kind of be like, oh, if I had this or if I had that. He's like, he knew what he needed. He needed this, this, and this, and he went out and he got each component, and that is like a very strong lesson to everyone out there trying to get shit done. I had a guy today, for example, tell me that he has 3 kids. He's living in a bad area. He almost died. He used cannabinoids to bring himself back to health, but now he's in an area where he can't use cannabinoids safely or legally. And like, to me, it's straightforward. You need to move. It's a life or death situation. You need to move. But to him, he's kind of like, I got 3 kids. I can't really move. It's like, damn, what are you talking about? 3 kids can help you move. Get them to bring boxes from your house out to the van. And I know where people are coming from, a money thing or this thing or that thing, but are we really that trapped in life that we can't just make the decisions? Like, I knew from the minute I met Horatio, he needed to grow weed. I think I've been offering him clones ever since.
Yeah. And because of the way I know what, I'm like, there's no point. I'm not just going to take some fluorescent lights and go jam them in a closet. I can't do that. I can't be that way.
But Horatio, that's the beginning of a manifestation. What you want to do is picture what you want, which I guess is a research and development lab with an Exemption 56 license, federal exemption to allow you to breed and extract and do research. And I know where that already exists in BC, and I might even be able to line that up for you. But what I'm saying is, in your own mind, how you start that, how River Rock got started, is with a couple of fucking lights in a closet, bro. That's how Tony started River Rock.
But when I do a closet grow, it still should be the epitome of what a closet grow could medically be. And that's why I stress, just like, I've never shown my lab yet, but when I do, jaws will drop, men will take their HVAC pumps and throw them out the window and start again. And a lot of the equipment that was valuable becomes worthless. And it's because I went bankrupt, because I called the lady and she said, you want to do it like an adult, or do you want to get equipment that's from somewhere else? Well, I called lab equipment for a reason, so give me the lab equipment. I will later learn, a year and a half later, the difference of how I got my 0 ppm, and it's in the lab equipment. It's not in some wizardry I did in a vac oven or twiddling with temperatures. It's the fact my equipment goes further to refine the medicine, and it's a scientific number I can look up on a chart. And I'm like, well, I'm so glad when I was ignorant I trusted smart people, because now everyone will be upgrading 3 times over to get the pump I bought first. But at the same time, I'm broke where everybody else is up.
Well, that is the trick with your process is more like people don't exactly know it because there's science behind it and there's expensive equipment behind it.
And
It's
there's
not as easy to teach people how to do it. That's for sure.
well, and there's this weird line where I'm like, there are people who, like, I got a message literally yesterday and it says, "Hey, bro," it shows a picture of the Roto Vape, and they're like, "I sold my closed loop. I'm done with butane. I'm following you. I've read everything you've written, and I'm ready to go. Just, do you have any words of encouragement?" And I'm like, "Well, I can't have you fail, dude. You saw the light and you've changed your ways. I have to help you, but at some point, what if you work for Tony and this is all about like that?" That same thing, my little flag, and how do I become my own LP before giving it away on YouTube to share with the greater hash community that can produce it at home in a commercial kitchen, where I want to become a respected legal facility where if I put my glass tubes together in the right order, that's a patent, that's a process you pay for. It's this weird, I'm in the first forefront of that middle. I'm like, well, I want to be about the guys, but I want to be like Tony, and Tony doesn't seem to be showing his lab every 3 minutes until he's able to in a professional manner.
Sure.
But I'm amongst the guys, and that's all I have. I don't have a lab in that world, so all the guys go is, "You're in a closet doing weirdness," and where's the line for me? Because I end up proving it to the guys and then losing my shirt and being the guy that invented peanut butter and you never heard of.
Well,
So,
because you're showing them something they can't do that cost an enormous amount of money to do, that's proprietary in your brain, and right now they're doing something that's super easy and inexpensive and works really good for them.
well, what drives me nuts is I know I've written enough that anybody who was a year one college student with a Roto Vape has already done it. They send me pictures and they're like, "Is this LHO any good?" And I'm like, "Well, let's go through how I bio-essayed my way up the ladder to figuring out if I was crazy or if I could go to the secret cup and win." So that, because they're going to get results that are going to be boo-boo but are still not poisonous as they learn. I'm like, clearly you found that one post where I got really angry and defended myself and picked up the breadcrumbs I left behind. So I know it's there to the educated. It's just not there for the men who want to be able to, smoke a joint and get it.
But even if it is there for everyone, what I'm saying is it's fairly expensive and complex for the everyday non-chemist to pull off.
True. No, I mean, that's why you should extract resin heads with a save. I mean, I'm totally for that. If my wife had said no, I'd just be, dry sift competition for you. It would be rough out there. One day when I get enough grow, I'll sift hard and serious and be a 99%er.
Yeah, dude. Well, on that note, I think I'm going to load up... I was going to load up some of D420Ks, but now I can't even find it. I did get an enormous amount of really cool things sent from D-Nail recently. They sent me their new nail, their new titanium nail here, which is a nice little unit. Works, the thing goes on top, rather than, if you are familiar with the old ones, it used to wrap around the base. Now it just slides over the same way the quartz does. And then I've been hitting the doghouse here, which is a little bit dirty, but I'll show it. I really dig this quartz tube. It's really quite warm in there. If you look at the hole, the black piece is a piece of quartz pushed in, and it creates a real chamber in there. And once you take the quartz dabber and push that into the hole, it carbs the hole simultaneously. Really gives a nice rip, I gotta say. For the dry sift especially, you can see that it just expands, explodes. It gives you a great hit. I'll hit some Sweet Skunk dry sift from Matt the Great Gardener. Man, I just cleaned some hash for Matt the Great Gardener, and let me tell you, I'm pretty sure he's going to win some cups because it was so effing beautiful. I'm not sure which ones he's entering, but I would say he's going to have some success in whichever ones he chooses. It was some of the nicest hash I've ever really worked with, and that's kind of a unique thing as a hash maker I'll talk a little bit about.
which I'm sure Darrin, when he gets back, he can confirm as well. I'm a little bit luckier in the sense that I work with a lot of different people's resin. So I obviously grow my own herb and make my own hash, but then often people will bring me hash that they want to get cleaned for them, so I can do that for them. It's generally just for the experience of playing around with the hash and getting to know different resins and trying to figure out what's different, because there are so many subtle differences between resins that you really only get to see once you've sifted them dry, mechanically separated them through screens, and isolated them or decontaminated them away from their capitate stalks and cystolith hairs. So Matt recently dropped off a few different varieties. I played with Sweet Skunk, I played with Renee CBD, and I played with Barb, which you may or may not have seen some of those photos, or you may have even seen the video of Matt just showing up to grab that resin, and he held up a snake and we put it on the sapphire dish. I'm not sure if any of you guys saw the sapphire video. If not, I would go back into Bubbleman's world and check it out, because it is one of the most awesome melt shots I've really ever acquired. It's just so ridiculous how this dry sift melts that I just wanted to smoke it all. It was so sad that it all disappeared. I didn't even keep like a hit. I literally cleaned like a lot. But I'm happy that the contests will be won, and I'm happy that people will get. Really, Matt's just such a generous guy. What he'll do is he'll give most of it away. He just gives it away. He's just so happy to be. He's just such a proud grower, and he deserves to be, because I really tell you, the guy really knows what he's doing. I invited him in today. I was hoping that he was going to come see us, but he's very busy. He's constantly, literally growing herb. That's what he does. He is the great gardener. And he's just a humble dude and a nice dude, and I always enjoyed making videos with that guy. It's definitely a good fellow.
I had a question. Did you find any difference between the barb you made in the summer? Because in the summer it seemed to be all about keeping it frozen to keep it sandy, but you guys didn't seem to be as stressed about keeping it frozen this time. Did it come out different, or just the time of year?
Of course, the temperature of the room or where you're doing your sifting is going to greatly affect like how the resin reacts, if that makes any sense. The resin itself, like for carding, if it's too warm, it's just, what happens is the heads, instead of rolling like hard little balls over the screen, they start getting kind of lopsided, and the carding effect doesn't really work. And worse, the contaminant starts pushing into the resin heads, puncturing them and like getting stuck in them. So carding in a warmer environment is just very difficult. So when I'm carding, I definitely like to be in a much colder environment, even like as low as like 3 or 4 degrees. As hot, the maximum temperature I would card in is probably around 8 or 9 degrees Celsius. So that's pretty much what we've been rocking for the last however many days here where I'm living. And so it was fine. You know, in the summertime, it was a much bigger problem.
Okay, so that's sort of, because yeah, he even, I mean, when he flew to Toronto, he kept it all freezer packed.
Oh, he came here with a freezer. Don't get me wrong.
Okay. So it's just off camera. He did. So he's still up to the usual.
Oh yeah, yeah, because it has to be. You can't even like. It's surreal, dude. It's just like.
I know. I got it in the competition, and I'm like, what the? Is this butter? Because it comes out like butter by the time you get it in a vial.
No, but that's why you have to get it as powder. That's no good when it's already absorbed moisture out of the air and it's buttered out like that.
I think I still even keep the packet from Toronto, the Playboy packet of like from the cup of like that nonsense. But I remember when I saw it, I was like, because I was really cranky and I was like, butter. Where are the? Because I was angry there wasn't enough bubble in the competition, and I'm like, what's this? Another butter sample? Then I opened it and I was like, raw. This must be that barb. And then I dabbed it. But,
well, here's the thing. When Matt won, I didn't even hear the announcements. I was in my at my booth with Johnny B, and we were working our asses off making hash and such. And then someone came up and they was like, "Oh, Matt won," and I was like, "Oh, right on, he won." And they were like, "Well, he took third." And I remember going, "What?"
Yeah.
Like, fuck, that's weird. I was kind of like, that's weird. I mean, that shit was nice, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what took second and third. And then later, like an hour later, someone came up to me and they were like, yeah, dude, Great Gardener won. And I was like, yeah, I heard he took third. And they were like, no, man, that was for Canatonic. Barb took first. And I was like, okay, that makes more sense. Because that is some nice hash, dude, honestly. When I finished making the hash for him this time around, I texted him 2 words, and they were, you win.
That's kind of why I wondered, like, if summer grows, like spring summer grows versus summer fall grows, would change the barb itself just from, or if it like comes out exactly the same just because he's that machine type grower. Basically, I'm trying to figure out if there's any environmental condition that can affect his resin.
Right.
But I guess not. It's always fire.
Well, you can always control the environment. Within reason,
yeah, that's kind of what I figured. I'm like, if he just stays that hard on it, he can always make it go through the same screen the same way.
Well, I'll tell you, if he manages to pull it off, and everyone can get those samples as the golden sandy powder that this shit is, I think it will just amaze people because they just won't have had it. It's so special. You take one hit of it, and then you're like, fuck, there's not that much left.
I know. I don't know if I should ask that guy for another thing. I mean, it's the only hash in the room, but basically I'm trying to figure out if there's any environmental conditions that can affect his resin.
Yep. Welcome, Mike and Hetty. Well, you can always control the environment. We're going to have to mute you till you get your sound figured out, which is basically turn our sound down and then ideally no background sounds if you're going to leave your mic unmuted. Welcome, Tony, back in the house for a Sunday church at 11 o'clock. We've been at it for an hour, and we've talked about a bunch of different things. We've talked about your place quite a few times. River Rock has come up.
Oh, yeah?
Standardization and just like how you guys can kind of have LPs down there, whereas we kind of can't, you know? I guess we can have dispensaries, but I don't think we have any dispensaries really on that level of River Rock with a giant greenhouse and that whole sort of thing. So we look to the south to our friends at River Rock.
You're funny. There's a lot of interesting things going on in Denver for sure. There's a lot of people spending a lot of money on expansions and build-outs and anticipating different things. And unfortunately, I think the world that people that have never came from our industry, never cultivated from basements, never understood what it's been like since the 90s. They anticipated and anticipating it like the gold rush. Like it's just all of a sudden a new market. All of a sudden there's all kinds of new things that are happening when really we all been doing the same thing since the 70s, and it's just the population of cannabis users have ultimately been growing on the, you know, in the quote unquote gray or black market. And unless you're doing something unique and different with the plant, medically speaking, the sales and the recreational industry in Colorado is not quite what those investors and speculators thought it was going to be.
Can I throw in something?
What's up?
It's still really,
I'm from Seattle.
still really only just starting here in Australia at the moment. Really, there's not much going on. It's just started grabbing the attention medicinally, and there's big hope, but the way the government is at the moment, I don't know when or what exactly will be, you know, available, and to whom. It's really hush-hush.
I really think the first step is you have to free the people that actually use the plant from being prosecuted. That's step one. Free the plant so that people don't go to jail. They don't get prosecuted for using cannabis, growing their own cannabis, possessing their own cannabis. Sure, there needs to be...
Decriminalization is key, really, yeah.
That's the first step. That's That's the first step. Decriminalize it for the people, and then if you know, I think then there's different chapters. If you want to try to get into the recreational market in the big business, it's very difficult. If you're going to focus on patients and medical, I think that there's a bigger acceptance and understanding, not just from governments, but the general public is really, at least in our area, they truly respect it and understand the medical value. And that's, to me, it's decriminalization, and then it's education for those people in power, so they understand that this is helping people first and foremost. Because if you bypass that, if you bypass that, like in Seattle,
people are starting to wake up here. I mean, there's been polls and shit recently, and you know, 76% of people in that participated in the poll, you know, with
Australia, right?
Medicinal marijuana.
You're in Australia?
Absolutely, yeah. Queensland, Australia.
Yeah, we actually put together a group. There's the people that helped us with the 80 acres here in Colorado. They actually already formed a group for Australia. So I know that your health ministers and people are talking about it. They're definitely going to go towards hemp and medical. They might do the decriminalization. I just don't know if they're going to do full rec. I think a lot of governments.
I don't think it's really going that far at the moment. It's, you know, they're basing solely on, you know, terminal patients. That's really all they're releasing to, and, you know, that's just for this test trial because they have to do their own trials, because apparently, you know, this stuff you guys haven't done isn't, you know, accreditable.
Put me in, coach. Put me in
over here.
That's the ironic thing. We want to spend the money to do the clinical trials, and they won't let us. So it's not like we don't want to, and that's why sometimes you have to go outside the United States to try to find those solutions. However, I think what's happening at the U.S. level is that like we're about to take part in an FDA. Hopefully this will go through an FDA clinical observational trial with the products that we have, the programs that we have, and we'll be able to get that evidence, and the government's actually paying for it. I think what they're going to do is they're going to basically create these different avenues in states that allow us to do preclinical observational trials to see how those go, and then they're going to probably reschedule after that. They just want to make sure that there is a substantial industry and enough time to be able to do that before they release that. They will do it, though. It's coming.
Yeah, that's basically the situation over here at the moment. You know, we haven't started anything yet. It's just still building up to that point, and everything just flows on from there. I mean, personally, myself, I would prefer to grow my own once you get it, you know, government supplied.
Yeah. I don't blame you. And that's why I say decriminalization is important, because if you know what you're doing, you know, you don't you can do.
Well, I know exactly what I need for my personal self.
Exactly.
You know, I'm not exactly going to find that from off the shelf shit that's thrown everywhere.
Yeah. Yep. That's why I say in Denver it's a little different, because there's so many people growing their own. I mean, I personally, if you asked me what I thought the sales, I think whatever you see in the paper and whatever sales you see is being reported through medical and rec, go ahead and you could double that for the black market here.
Easily. It's the same here in Seattle. They say it's legalized here. I would call it corporatized, would be the better word. It's that they have this recreational system where you can go into the stores and buy their mid-grade $25 to $30 a gram weed and $20 edibles and their $15 joints. And for the medical world, that's all a joke. I mean, smoking joints, that's the ancient technology to us.
I like that ancient technology. Bubbleman, when was the last time you smoked a joint?
Like 13 and a half years ago.
I laugh when people say, "Don't smoke a whole joint, you're gonna get too high." I'm like, you don't understand what world I'm coming from.
Yeah, there's just not enough resin on any size joint to be worthwhile smoking. Like, that's just.
What did you?
And plus, just the way you burn a joint, you're not utilizing the resin properly.
Listen, a joint is like you've got iced tea mix and you've got a big glass of water, but you're like, let's just put in 3 crystals into this water and drink that down.
Yeah,
but because I don't smoke, like if you glug water real fast, you can get a kind of high, and it's its own buzz. That
Sure.
I'm like, oh my god, I think this joint is getting me wasted. Wait, hold on, I'm sober. Hold on. You just have to straighten up, but really
I don't
fast all
doubt-
at once.
I don't doubt people love smoking joints, and I think it's great. I just personally don't. I never want to take that away from someone that does. I just feel that if most people had access to full melt resins, dry sifted and wet washed and whatever, that they would just have a hard time going back to smoking joints. But yet, I know, look at Matt. Matt loves smoking joints, and Matt has access to a shit ton of resin. Beautiful, epic, awesome resin of all different varieties and kinds.
I'd like to add something to that.
What's that, Darrin?
I'd like to add something to the smoking the joints versus the hash.
Please.
Myself, when I love smoking my joints too, but I can only smoke so many. Like it's very rare that I do these days because I have access to my dry sift, to my full melt, and I find that at night I'd like to try that, Tony, for sure.
Pure terp?
I don't keep my wife up coughing, and I don't wake myself up coughing. I don't cough at night at all anymore because I only smoke my hash and not the joints. So there's, the carcinogens in the weed matter. I love the flavors and everything of the joint, but fuck, I love the hash a lot better. It's just.
Does anyone else's hash look like a steaming pile of dog shit, or is that just mine?
Just yours.
Time to time.
Just yours.
I don't keep that stuff though.
This is 7 years old, though. I was playing with it. This is some Astro Boy dunkage that I'm about
Looks like
to.
some emo turds.
Here, let's put the Astro Boy on top of the turd.
And
Is that whole thing in a bong rip?
I'm pulling out the doghouse.
One big bong rip in the doghouse.
Something over here.
Yeah, load the turd in the doghouse. And then stuff it.
That's really the best we get. Came in a bag.
Wait a minute.
Into it.
Called Arnold Palmer.
That's the best you get?
I got the Arnold Palmer.
I've had better, but this is up there.
My friend Wally Duck lives in Australia, and he grows the hammer. Such good weed. Hey, what do you got there, Tony? Turp melt?
This is a strawberry lemonade sour bubblegum terp melt.
Oh, I think Dane just held some of that up.
He doesn't have this one though.
Yeah, he said he went to your house and stole a couple of jars. He was putting it in joints and mixing
Yeah.
Never forgotten.
Beer tag, dude. That came out this the other night.
What's that?
That just came out last night, right?
No, this is new. This is the lemon G13.
Jesus.
Let's put it this way, Fred.
Why do I not have any of that, I wonder?
You will, my friend.
Aha!
Well, now that I have a moment too, I want to tell you, Horatio, that lemon on lemon BHO that I had, or it's not even BHO, it was like a terp blast. That was very tasty. I had that in LA.
He doesn't use BHO, brother. He uses just a D.
Did you get some of that lemon headband that I sent down, like at the After Secret Cup?
Huh?
Did you try the LHO? When you went?
Yeah. Someone had some, and I had a chance to try it. It was amazing.
Yeah, no, that's cool. It did get down to a chalice. I gave away all I had. Obviously, I couldn't come home with it.
We were talking about flowers earlier, just to end that so I can move this. This is how I only vaporize flowers with this stuff.
Oh, here we go. You're doing terp melt on flowers or what?
No. You're talking about flowers. I only vape it for the taste. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, me too.
There's no.
But
I mean,
lately my hash has tasted so good, I'm not even vaping flowers.
yeah.
It's like when the hash is super loud, it's like...
Here's a little last year fucking cure.
Last year cure. Look at that snot.
I think I'm going to just do a... I have not smoked yet today, so I'm actually going
Oh! Is this where we all cough simultaneously?
Let's fucking do it. Do it.
I'm going to try a...
Bong rip.
Look at the
Three, two,
influence.
one, go.
Max Frost live right
Fucking hitting us all
I
up.
volunteer Matt here for the coughing.
There goes a pure lemon G13 terp hit. Let's see if it does anything to me.
Oh my god, dude, careful.
You want to wreck your mouth. I don't know what you're up to with all those pure terp hits.
We used to do it with essential oils. Pure
Yeah,
mint
it's more
oil.
fun.
So tasty.
Wow.
All right, I'm gonna hit one of these in the doghouse.
Ready?
It's like, what? Holy shit.
Hey, Bubbleman, I gotta head out to work in 5 minutes, but there's the one thing I want to talk to you about real quick.
What's that?
Well, Matt and I here, we just ordered a whole bunch of equipment last night. It's borosilicate stainless steel equipment for creating basically a pharmaceutical grade still, and here's a good some of it. But, well, it will enable us to basically do all sorts of things with any chemicals we want, and we're not advocating solvents or chemicals. We're actually trying to get away from them. But one thing I do want to experiment with is I was reading an article about the semiconductor industry, and they use this thing called ultra pure water. And it's water that is so pure, right, it's literally nothing but water atoms. That there's nothing else in it. It's in a vacuum environment. And it's so powerful that way that I think it has a resistance of 18 mega ohms, and they use it as a solvent on the semiconductor chips. But what I'm thinking is, since all the chlorophyll and all the contaminant is absorbed by water, you can somehow utilize this to pull all the contaminant out of the plant matter and do an advanced water cure before you do a bubble run. So I was wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Well, I've heard a little bit about it, that it definitely can pull shit out. Like anything that's in, it'd be a great way to test probably in a sense, because anything you put into ultra pure water, like if there's any sort of contaminants in that plant matter, they can be pulled out. I've never used it personally. I know they use it in, like you were saying, computer chips, and I think the iPhone, they use it a lot, like in the production of iPhones.
Have you ever seen anyone do a run just on water cured nugs?
No. No, I don't imagine that 5 gallons of water pure is super inexpensive.
No, not water cured bud.
Like just put a bud in water pure?
No, water curing. Have you heard of that process?
Oh, water curing. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But have you seen people do a bubble run on bud that has been water cured?
Have I seen people do a run on bud that has been water cured?
That's weird.
Maybe. I don't know. I really don't know.
It's something I want to try.
I ran a lot of runs.
I've smoked some very high quality water cured bud.
This is the terp melt being pressed out.
Ah, yes, the terp melt.
Still haven't seen it, Bubbleman.
I know. Well, I've seen it, like, in your videos, but...
I think that the water curing of a bud, I think you're going to lose a lot of the terps.
That's what I was going to say, and the more you play with that heavy pull water, you're going to lose more terps.
Yep.
Yeah, to pull them out.
Using double distilled water.
Some terp melt for you. So we had the test results done on the terp melt, and Jiv didn't want to accept them, but they were done through a very good group over at Project CBD.
Yep.
And it was done several times. You see it's greasy and hard as a rock.
Excellent.
But it tested 84%. One tested 72% THC and like 13% terps. This one tested 84%. Not this particular one, but one we did that tested close to 10%, which is ridiculous.
Where did those tests go? I had a bunch of tests here from Matt, the Great Gardener, I was going to share on terpene and terpene content, but now I can't seem to figure out where I put them. He had one strain, if you can imagine, that came out 44% myrcene.
I don't believe it.
Here we go. All right, terpene profiles. Tested at MB Labs. Now, that's not to say it was 44% of the profile. It was 44% of the terpenes.
Oh, okay. I could believe that.
Yeah, it's all about how you read these stupid things, hey? It's all weird and sciencey. Percentage of total terpenoids, that's what it is.
Don't lie.
Half of the terpene content. He's got a few, like his... Oh, what is his tea? Try to remember what each strain is. He's got Hayoma and Purple and Afghani Canatonic, Afghani. It's interesting stuff. It'd be nice to have that inexpensive way to test your own material for terpenes and for cannabinoid profiles. I really, really, really would dig that.
I'm going to try to test this. Now that I finally have enough and figured out a way to actually make it work so it has enough.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see what the lab says. They'll probably come back and say there's no terpenes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there's nothing in it.
This is just water, man. What are you
This
doing?
smells and tastes exactly like lemon G13. Nothing.
Well, that was my first question to you, Mark. You're like, why don't I have any terp thing? And I'm like, well, you haven't thrown enough weed at me that we can get a few drops to flash around. It's all about how you get it, because, I mean, I keep the hydrosols and drink the hydrosol-specific water because it's separate from the limonene, but I know what you're after, and I'm like, let's just get my old steam distiller out and put it under vacuum, but you got to have that plant material out of prohibition to get at it. Tony has it. He has it going spare. Give me that trim. I need 30 pounds. I'm looking for 20 drops. For real. So
it's pretty funny, though, because we were talking about it last night, and obviously that's kind of like the path in which you start off what you just said. But the issue with steaming and things like that is that you're going to reach temperatures above 221 degrees because that's where its water boils at.
But you missed that thing where I said throw it under vacuum.
I did miss it. I didn't miss it.
Okay. That's rule number one. We don't actually boil anymore.
Yeah. I didn't miss it. But we were actually talking about that yesterday because Giddy, once Giddy's in the lab and we were sitting there, and I was like, yeah, we could boil water at different back pressures and things like this, but the idea here is I'd be interested to see, because I've got multiple byproducts in what I'm doing, and I'd be interested to see what you would actually do with them, because I'm collecting like types of hydrosol, I guess you would say, because there's a separation when you're dealing with water and terpenes in water. You're going to have hydrosols, you're going to have different layers and different types of things, and unique things happen. Like when I did try it that way, we would find that sometimes you get, like, temperatures are very important in this entire process, because people think if like they thought I was using rotovaps or something and like heat, and that would make no sense.
Not with the plant material. If you wanted to do an extraction of 100 grams of oil, then take the essential oils from that extraction, yes, but not tumble dry plant material. No.
Yeah, I can't even use dry material.
Yeah, you'll be there forever pumping it with rotovap's not the way to inject steam, but Like have you tried putting that hydrosol in your soda stream and adding sugar?
I drink it.
But have you carbonated it?
No, we talked about that last night. That's funny, dude. We need to be hanging out a lot more. You like?
Well, when you carbonate it, those terps go up your nose in a completely different way and blow you out.
That was the terp melt.
Terp mouth? Hey, you got to get a sapphire dish, Tony. It's my favorite little insert to smoke off of. It hits so much nicer than those ceramic discs.
Sapphire got it from the man himself.
Yeah, aren't they nice? This one's ceramic, not.
Mine, the problem is it only sits on top, but they are very nice. How do you keep yours clean though? Because mine just like, I don't know.
I mean, I've really only hit the nicest shit on this so far, and it's actually self-cleaned. I don't even have a
What
torch.
temperature do you run that at though?
I have it at like 700.
Oh my God! Yeah, I never go past 6. Okay.
Yeah, he likes it hot. He likes his.
Well, it's because I had the sublimator, and I learned the hit of the sublimator. I learned you could get this bigger, better hit with all the flavor. And then when I first started hitting the D nails, the electric nails, I was like, it seems like it's only one or the other. It seems like you kind of got to like either get that terp hit at like 500 where I was starting, or you got to go way up hot to get that big blast. And then I sort of pulled it down into the middle based on the closest thing I could get to a sublimator rip, which really, the sublimator gives a solid rip when you have it working properly.
That's why I get fucked up, because you're like, oh, take this hit, and it's like, rip.
Yeah,
and
I love that,
like,
though.
Oh, it's bubbles. I don't know why I'm so high.
Yeah, that's the sublimator. All right, Sapphire. From Brian. That's cool, dude. I'm glad you guys linked up. I invited him into Hash Church today, but they're also busy, so I don't know if we'll be seeing them today.
Buy one? Yeah. Just by itself?
Yeah.
Is that Dread?
Yeah, it's Dread. He's the one who grew the lemon G13.
Yo, yo.
Dread, what's up?
What up?
Welcome to Hash Church, bro.
Morning, guys.
He's like, what the hell's going on in here? I was like, you're on TV, bro.
Yeah, there's 230 people watching right now all over the world.
Very cool.
And they're just checking it out. This is Hash Church. We talk about, well, what we know. You know growing, so while you're here, you should definitely talk about growing. Because it's a wonderful thing. It's a great service.
You ready for this? Yeah, it's very interesting.
Welcome, Tim.
He's like smoking 30 grams in one hit.
Blowing through my... Yeah.
I love it.
That's tasty.
Wait until we're doing 30 pounds in one hit. Give me 6 drops, man. Give me 6 drops.
I started putting them into a syringe, and Jibs and Giddy was like, "Oh, that's super sexy," into just like a syringe, or not a syringe, sorry, like a applicator that looks like a syringe.
That's super sexy. Is that what Giddy said?
Yeah, they were freaking out over it.
I saw that on Jib's thing last night. I'm like, fuck me, where am I supposed to get the bud to make that sauce? And I'm like, well, it's his party to take that so close to the nail with a plastic applicator tip, but go for it.
Yeah, I prefer vials.
It's all coming together. We'll have ours. They'll be up here helping. We're gonna get it all worked out. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna get that lab happening.
We'll have Canadian everything of yours.
All down the line.
I bet you that.
I agree.
Hold on a second. I was just getting a patient hitting me up.
How about this book by J.J. Moreau, Hashish and Mental Illness?
Somebody says, congratulations, you made the world's most expensive hash that absolutely will not get you high.
That's hilarious.
However, you feel anything from that? A little strange, right?
Terpenes definitely can cause different effects. They definitely are more effective when modulating other cannabinoids than being taken pure. 1994. 1984, here we go. Hashish and mental illness. J.J. Morin. This guy is the founder of the Club des Hashichins, the French hashish eating club. So, another cool book you guys can check out in the world of hash.
Yeah. All right. This is a little unorthodox. I usually just smoke full melt on this, but Dredd wants to try this ultra live resin G13.
Let him do it. Let him do it. I'll find another poem on the essay of hashish. We will read. Small.
I don't know if you're ready for this. Got the Chem 4 here too.
You got the Chem 4? Dude, bring it over.
You got the Chem 4? That's a nice thing to hear. What's going on with you, La Fuma? La Fumo pipe?
Just getting up, having a few rips, been enjoying listening to you guys talk here.
Excellent. Yeah, I guess we've been going at it for an hour and a half now. It's always enjoyable to hear everyone's opinion on all the different things. I sure appreciate everyone being a part of it, and chatting.
The taste, yeah, I'm just saying by smell, it's definitely. But, I mean, still, dude, when I've grown that ghost strain, it came out living, like, in the super soil, it comes out.
How was that rip, Darrin?
So good. Yeah. I've been with him.
Really good.
That was like a couple years or something, did you say?
Full year.
Nice.
1 full year.
There's Dane.
Good to cure things out for a full year. All these kids nowadays smoking all their stuff in the first 3 days that they make it. Oh, put a little aside. What?
Hey, do you, let's see here. Do you guys want to just kind of do an introduction? Like not a crazy one, but just say who you are so Dredd knows what's up out there? Because he's a newbie.
All right, we'll start with this character, Dane.
I know that guy.
Oh, that's right. You know Dane. All right, Darrin.
What's up?
Tell Dredd a little bit about yourself. Who the fuck are you, man?
Well, I'm a redneck in the interior of British Columbia that makes dry sift hash, and fucking love doing it, man. Smoking
full melt.
Full melt, like some killer hash. Like, you ever come up this way? You ever hit in Vancouver to see Mark or anything like that? I'll come down and bring some down with me. Fuck you right up. It's beautiful. Mark likes smoking it. Mark loves smoking it. So that alone, to me, says everything.
It's exceptional. There is no doubt about it. He has achieved purity, and the growers have achieved quality. So it's a good combination.
And I give that to Mark as well. Mark, he smoked the stuff with me, blew my mind with it, and I had to have it after that. I couldn't get it off of anybody up here or down there because you can't even just get it from your friends. You don't make enough. So I know enough people up here. We're all medical. We're all licensed up, and we all grow our own. So we grow it. We try to make the resin as much as we can, right? We grow it for the wet resin quality, so that the sugar leaf is what I use, right? It's just fucking crazy. I got a bunch right behind me right now. I got some in here. I got a whole bunch of these things. They're all all cured up. There's chunky cherry Malawi. There's Brooklyn mango. There's Holy Grail Kush. There's OG Kush. We got those all curing. So I'll take over my screens. I'm constantly setting my shop up to have a manufacturing line of it, but it's just me doing it. I'm a mad scientist, man. Like
Dry Sift General, the Dry Sift General.
Dredd, while you were talking before that, he goes, "Oh, what does he do? Does he make screens? Does he?"
I've seen that whole pile of screens back there.
Because he sees all the toolbox and all the stuff back there. He's like, "Oh, does he make screens?" I was like, "No, he just processes that much hash."
He's a decontamination specialist, which leads us, when he said he's a mad scientist, that leads us to Horatio.
Yes.
Well, I'm a permaculture designer and teacher, and my background is in visual effects for movies. And one day I was, doing my own thing, sneaking away, reading about you guys, thinking about getting high after work. And because I was reading other documents on a million other things at night, which is my usual, I stamped my fist at my desk and decided to join the foray and either discover if limonene could be of medicinal use along with a whole nother line of terps if we could extract them at, you could say, recreational qualities, and started joining this situation. And the more I look around, the more I see things I want to design and research and think about. And, I've been up all night just going over chlorophyll A, B, beta carotene, the spectrums, and I'm like, what do I want to do? What do I think that those grow videos have in common in these grow styles in his greenhouse? And what do I know about this region of the world and its climatic factors during their grow time? And what's their sun like? So then I'm like, you know what? I think for what I'm growing, I'm going to mimic Honduras and make sure I get lights and an environmental control system so that I can produce those environments. And that comes from my permaculture farming microclimate background. So that's kind of why it's taken me so long to get growing, just for instance, because of the freak I am. But that also makes me the inventor of LHO at this moment, and I'm going to shut up about what I think I'm going to invent in the bubble hash world one day, if I survive mortgage and the rest.
Respect. Yeah, man. He does the D-lamp. You smoke that, right?
Which one?
He doesn't use a solvent. He uses the terpene to extract.
Okay.
He uses a solvent, but...
All right, Johnny B's in the house. Who are you, Johnny B?
I was transplanting and getting ready to burn sulfur because I have PM, and I had some work to do because I had Brent here.
No, not terrible news. Who are you? We're explaining to Dredd. We're going through and we're explaining who we all are. And
that
Darrin,
was horrible. You crushed him. You crushed him. You didn't even give him a chance. He just woke up. Look at him. He hasn't even he hasn't had any cannabis. He walks into a meet and greet where everybody's introducing.
No, he's had cannabis. I know John. He's been puffing tough all day since I bet you 5 a.m.
6:30.
Oh, 6:30. See, pretty good. You slept in today, John.
Hey, 25th hit this morning.
I'm gonna have a hit with you while you tell Dredd after your hit who you are and what you're all about. Johnny B in the house.
Well,
tell about your cups too. Your wins, buddy.
Hope you're comfortable. I got a story to tell you.
Nice. Where's yours, Johnny B and Brent?
Been involved with the cannabis industry since my best friend here has known me since I've been about 15, 12, 14 years old. 14 years old. I've been growing it not on a big scale, always on a small scale for myself because I know I needed it medically. Throughout the years, I was involved a little bit of, always dabbling a little bit and helping out friends and stuff. And long story short, in 2005, I fell 28 feet on the concrete. I broke my neck in 4 places, shattered my arm at 15, broke my back. I got major injuries. And really started understanding I've been using cannabis, what I thought was recreational, but truly as a medicine when I found out how much it helped me with my injuries. Since then, I've been advocating and helping seriously injured workers, educating people on the equities of cannabis and how it affects the central nervous system, learning more about standardization and quality control when it comes to standardized medical grows, to standardized dosing with cannabis. We talked about the Charlotte's Web in the beginning of this. We were involved with a strain called Thru's Comet, which was 15% CBD and 7% THC. That was back in 2007. That's a strain I still have in my garage. I've been crossing it for years now. I have a lot of fun with that. Bubbleman about 2.5 years ago, and I was always involved with medicine. He showed me truly what medicine was about, which was the message, not the messenger. So then I really got involved over the last few years and getting more education on getting into, well, now with you guys, microdosing and learning how to properly educate people on cannabis as a medicine, amino acids, natural supplements. I've won a few cannabis cups here in Canada, 2011, 2012, first place, second place for treating yourself. I've been published on Standardized Medical Grows in Case Journal, Standardized Pain Management. a bunch of good stuff. So I'm involved. You know, I enjoy spreading the good word about this great plant and how it helps everybody every day.
For sure, respect to that, brother.
So
Yeah,
that
Really,
now,
and I've met a lot of great people along the way. I learned a lot from, well, like Tony is just so into the research end of it. I'm so really. I pay very much attention to what you guys are doing down there in Colorado because we can't do it here. But I've been doing this myself for years in my own garage and with other doctors and stuff over the years. And Tim knows that. I've been working with Tim a little bit and DK, everybody. Horatio I met, and he's doing some awesome stuff. And I'm really interested in what he's doing with non-solvent extractions and stuff like that. So it's about medicine to me.
Well, that leads us up to Mr. LaFumo.
Let's see here. I guess I started with cannabis when I was about, I started smoking it when I was about 12 years old. I started growing it in my parents' backyard when I was about 15. Like John, I thought everything was recreational, but now that I look back on my stuff and
half spoons. Give me some more sugar and throw it
in recent times, I have some spinal injuries in my neck and my lower back, and I've been lucky enough to meet people like John and Bubbleman and many other great people in this community. They really started to educate me, and it's kind of stimulated, some stuff in me to do a little more research and listen to people like yourselves. So I do a little bit of growing. We're involved with some extractions. We won out at the TY Cup with a BHO extraction, and I'm just a pretty regular guy. We distribute LaFumo pipe up here in Canada. That's about it. I really enjoy cannabis, and I really feel blessed to get the chance to listen to all this good information that you guys put out.
All right, respect that.
Right on, dude. So there's like a room full of peeps right there. You know who I am. I'm Bubbleman. I do my thing. I like it though. I did smoke my first joint when I was also 14 years old, and that was fun. It was definitely like love at first sight. Mary Jane.
I think I was 13, 6 or 14. I think I took a puff off my dad's joint when I was 5 or 6, but then
damn,
I was 13 where I went into his roach jar, and a roach would
Horatio out hardcores me. I thought 14.
When's it all?
14's kind of late.
That's when you get your own supply.
I'm in love with you, girl.
Yeah, that movie out of Half Baked where they all try it and then they go in and he's like, Abba Zabba, you my only friend. That whole scene really was very similar to the scene I was going through at the time. Like, I really connected with that scene. I was just like, oh my god, like, did they steal this out of my brain? Like, were they there when it happened? Was I puffing with Dave Chappelle and I didn't know it?
Always possible.
I'll tell you. I guess many of us had that very same experience. But for my first time, that was literally like my first experience.
It was rough. I had Jamaican imported brickweed, but like years later, I discovered it was like fire mashed.
Time out. You had Jamaican imported brickweed, but what was the year, Horatio?
Let me explain something to you. I've only had imported Jamaican brickweed all around the world where I've lived until I moved to BC. BC was the first time I was like, what do you mean weed comes in jars and there's options?
Yeah, but it used to be...
And you cut it with a knife. Yeah, that's what I understood. Weed came from freezers, and you cut it with a big butcher knife down and into cubes.
They collected the gum off those knives.
Yeah. That's the thing is, I only ever smoked like thinners of brickweed with tobacco so strong.
Damn, that's a sad story too. Now someone's got to tell a happy story.
Wait a minute, this brickweed was fire just because it was squished.
I could say we were getting fire. I grew up in Victoria, so right from the get-go, we were getting good smoke. There's a lot of good growers in Vancouver Island. A lot of good growers.
Victoria, hey?
Yeah, that's where I grew up. So I was blessed to have a couple neighbors that were, 4 or 5 years older that didn't mind sharing.
Nice. Good times. Yeah, when I first went to the Kootenays, which is, for the people that don't know, it's, I guess a little further than even the interior. It's getting towards, driving east towards Calgary. It's quite a ways down the Crow's Nest Highway, the number 3, and you get to the Kootenays and Nelson and whatnot. And back in the day, we just were blown away how many 11 and 12-year-old kids had pagers and could get packs. They were like, oh yeah, we can get you It was just like, holy shit, this is a different kind of place. But everyone grew herb. I'm sure they still do, and I thank them for it. Is the Kootenay still like that? Anyone in chat want to answer that? Because I wonder. I go these days, but I'm really mostly disconnected from the majority of the Kootenays. I just see Ron, and I don't really end up in enough places when I go there these days. I wish I did. I need to go visit other scenes. All right, let me open this up. What do we got? What do we got? Can CBD kill off Ebola? Angelo, I was hoping Dr. David Allen was going to show up. He wrote the article. He's pretty convinced that the endocannabinoid system can help fight off such viruses. He understands a lot more of it than I do personally. I have no real understanding of it. I didn't even finish the article, but he was excited about talking about it today, but he just can't seem to figure out how to get into the chat. I did tell him I would send him the link, and I think I even sent him the link. What's that?
You need to turn into a Google Plus account.
That's what I told him to do, get a Google Plus account, and he seems pretty tech savvy on all other accounts, but he doesn't seem to, I don't know if he doesn't want one or he doesn't, hasn't figured out how to get one, but I wish that he would get one because he's a real smart man and he has all sorts of interesting things to say, and it's always a pleasure to hear from him. I don't know many people that are, considered endocannabinoid specialists. He has a fair understanding, being a medical doctor. And geez, I hope he shows up. It'd be great to hear from him. We got a couple hundred people in the room right now checking us out. 216.
I don't have it, but it's right here beside you on the table here.
I'm gonna mute that.
What was that?
That's number 2. Next time.
Boy, when you were sitting here.
Didn't mute. I'm trying. Come on, mute.
Sounded aggressive. The church.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Yeah, you got to keep on the mics. If there's too many mics open at once, then people forget their mics are open because they're all stoned. And then they.
I'm in love with you, girl.
I know. I wish I was able to get the rights to play music on here and not mess up my YouTube account. Because I love music, and there would be times where we could really be enjoying music, like right now. Guess I better hit another bowl out of the doghouse.
If you played it out of a record player, would it still find it?
Bong rip, bong rip.
Oh, bong rip.
Bong rip.
Collection for the West Coast.
Bong rip. Bong rip.
Darren's prepared. Horatio's good. John's already taking his. Sumo's loading.
2-1.
Oh look, Tony's dog's taking a bong rip with us.
That
was a drum rip, so bong rip.
I'm in love with you. Look at little Ola in the background.
Yeah, he's hanging out.
See my dog in the background?
Yep, I was talking about her or him. It's a her, isn't it?
Yeah.
See how I even know your dog is a her? All right. Well, now we have 226 people, and 10 whole new people just picked us up. And what are we doing? Well, we're just chatting. We're shooting the shit. We're talking. It's Hash Church. We're excited for Legends of Hash this year. It's going to be number 12. our 12th Legend of Hash in Amsterdam. I did used to throw the party in Vancouver, and I will one day again throw it elsewhere. But for now, it's an Amsterdam exclusive. It's coming up this November 25th. Legends of Hash. If you think you got what it takes, show up at the cup with some finest. Dry sift or wet wash. Please don't bring oil. We don't consider it hash. Nothing against oil, but we just don't consider it hash.
Somebody asked me the other day.
Pardon me?
Somebody asked me the other day, somebody that you know, that I don't want to say any names, but he was like, he's like, whose dick do I got to suck to get inside this Legends thing? And
He already asked me like a year ago, and I was like, dude, like, you're welcome to come. Just bring some really nice hash. And then I said, but not oil. It was Giddy Up.
No, it wasn't Giddy Up.
That's who said it to me the first time. I was like, just bring some nice hash, man. Like, you're well within you. Come on, you have access. It's like bounce some shit on some screens. Like, make some fire. Come to the party. You know, smoke a ton of hash. It'll be a nice night. You'll be well received. You should be there. It just won't be about oil for that particular night.
What night's it going to be on, Mark?
I believe it's on the 25th. It usually is on the Tuesday each year, but I haven't seen the invitations yet. I got my shirt on, actually, right now for Legends 10. This was from a couple of years ago.
I got
10. For those of you that don't know about Legends, Legends is a party that myself and the Skunkman Sam came up with one day, puffing bong rips at his house. We were just sort of talking about the Cannabis Cup and what we loved about the Cannabis Cup, and you know, the access to the really awesome people that travel from all over the world to go to. And when I say the Cannabis Cup, I'm talking about the Amsterdam Cannabis Cup. I've been going since 1995. It's a 5-day event. It's quite different from the shorter events. It's what I'll always consider to be the Cannabis Cup. And there's all sorts of things that you can complain about. But my friend and I, we were like, you know what? Like, what are the things we love about the cup? And so we started sort of accessing the thing we loved the most about the cup, and that sort of turned into, wouldn't it be amazing if we could just get all of that and have a night where it's about all this with all these people, and we just make it about this, and it's not, you know, we don't. It was really myself who was very strict upon any promotions of anyone's company or anyone's person. We never wanted it to be written about. We never wanted it to be. There was never cameras allowed. There's no social media. You can get scolded for even pulling out a smartphone, to be honest. It's just a night where we're focused on one thing and one thing alone, and it's not about the agenda of anyone's company, and it's not about anyone sponsoring. And that's what Legends was really originally about. It unfortunately, or fortunately maybe, turned into, you know, a ticket that everyone wanted, but for all the wrong reasons. You know? The people that wanted the ticket because they wanted to go and abuse their abilities to smoke hash for an evening, those people were most welcome. But the people who wanted the ticket for that whatever ego reason, was like, oh, I was on stage at Dilated People, or yeah, I got the ticket for, I've been to 4 Legends in a row. It's just like, no, not bragging rights. Like, just like, only if you just love hash, are completely obsessed with it, and want to spend a whole evening just, you know, absolutely just hitting it in copious amounts and experience the culture and the stories without any without any company promotions, without any, you know, although each year there's been like funny little things. I remember one year someone had a documentary coming out about them, and they put their flyers on all the tables, and I remember just looking at it and kind of feeling like it was like kind of like taking a shit on the restaurant floor of the vibe that we were trying to produce here at Legends, you know. So that's what Legends of Hash is. The most wonderful thing about Legends of Hash is that although some tickets are secured by people who use their ability to be a certain person to get that ticket, most of the tickets are acquired fairly, which is by coming to my booth during the Cannabis Cup in the early days, showing me what you have. I usually take a rip or two with the person I'm standing with. I don't take any more than that, and that makes the decision whether or not you should be there with that hash. I base it on the hash, and I base it on the work that you do. And because I do that, it doesn't matter if you own a company. It doesn't matter if we've been friends for 20 years. None of those things will secure you a ticket. The only thing that will secure you a ticket is bringing the best hash. So I think that's kind of fair, and I like what Legend stands for. And I look forward, mostly above all else, this year in November, I look most forward to that evening I get to spend with those few people that acquire a ticket and just smoke the shit out of hash.
That was a highlight of the party. That was well said, by the way.
Yeah, that was great.
I thought the highlight of the party is really what the party's about, which is once you get 50 or so of the best presented hashes around the world, right? Then those hashes are then smoked together at the end as a celebration, which I thought was really cool because just to be able to smoke 50 of the world's best hashes in one session at the same time in one bowl with everybody that created it was the first. It was a really cool sense of real, true unity among brotherhood because
connected to the root of the culture. That was 100-year-old bowl. That was a hubbly bubbly bowl from Afghanistan that is like 100 years old or more. You know, Sid keeps those in his collection. He's a gracious person for having that and holding that collection, and I always feel very blessed, not only for what you just mentioned, but also for just all the bowls that must have been smoked over the years in all of the world, like through Afghanistan and other parts of the world where that piece was enjoyed. It just comes with a heavier, and I wouldn't say burden, but just a heavier vibe, a good vibe, but a heavy vibe of this historical, like, yeah, this is a 100-year-old bowl. It was crafted in Afghanistan. It was probably picked up in the 70s. You know, used monstrously, traveled back, whether through flying or driving, you know, through Iran and all these other countries to get into Germany and back to Europe. It's incredible what those guys did. They drove buses from Germany to Kabul. I mean, who does that? Let's just drive our bus. We'll just drive through Iran. It'll be fine. Good on them.
Well, and the last feeling is a lot of people think I think take that resin quality very, very serious, and it gives you something kind of to focus on, I guess. But really, like I was saying to you, is like everybody's kind of a winner when you're at a table of the 50 best, so to speak, or 70 the best, whatever it would be. That's when, and you all smoke together. That's when there's no loser. There's no second, third, fourth, fifth, seventh.
No, because at that point it's not even about best. It's about passionate. It's just 50 of the most passionate, right? That's why it's the best. It's like, man, these motherfuckers are passionate about this shit. You could literally be like, put yourself between so many different hash smokers and hash lovers in that evening that you can really have some incredible conversations, but also see yourself in your own relationship that you have with, your love of hash, versus other people who are there that you can just. Some people, I always appreciate the people that go for the first year, almost more so than the guys that have been 10 years in a row. The guys that are just there for the first year, they're always so stoked and so happy to be there, and that's like, we need some of that each time because it really creates part of the vibe that Legends is.
Yeah, that was me last year. It's pretty interesting.
It was awesome, yeah, dude. You guys were stoked. You weren't even like, the best thing about you, Tony, was that you weren't even trying to get a ticket. You were like, for sure not trying to be like, hey man, come on, I'm Tony, like fucking just hook me up with a ticket and I need 3 for my buddies. Like instead, I think I had to be like, dude, this is really nice hash. Like you should come to Legends. I think that's how it happened in my mind. Am I correct?
No, you said, hey, are you coming by for dinner tonight? And I said, what do you mean? And you go, oh, there's this dinner that we have. Are you coming by for it? You have to bring hash though. And I said, oh yeah, I would love to go to dinner. And then I immediately started worrying about how much hash I had on me. And I was like, and I knew that I had like 7 days to go. And the pace in which you and I started. We just kind of started hanging out. We started smoking hash, and then it was like
we were puff and tough.
We were puff and tough
till 4 a.m. every night.
So I always underprepare for those kind of situations. And I only had so much hash. So my first thing was like, yeah, I got hash. You're like, yeah, bring some hash by, smoke it with everyone. So I was really concerned about just having more than a couple grams so that I could at least smoke with people. That was really my concern. And then it was like, and then when I got there, we had to turn the hash in. So I was like, all right, well.
That's an awesome story, dude. That is so awesome.
Once I finally got to this dinner, then you were like, yeah, you have to turn your hash in. And then Dave came up to me and somebody was like, well, are you sitting down here or what? Are you going to sit down? You need to put hash down. And so I was just like, yeah, this is all I have. I felt so intimidated. Whatever I had on me, I felt he needed to hash. Yeah. Here.
Well, muscle on all your hash.
And so then I sat down with like a quarter gram of like nothing. It was like train wreck. And I sat down in the smallest little chair next to Danny Danko and Bobby Black, who were 10 inches taller than me. Just to give you an idea, I'm 6'5", and they're like 5'8". And so even sitting down, they were much taller than me. So I was in this little dunce chair with a quarter gram of hash, and my entire stash was taken from me by Dave. And so I was just like, what the fuck just happened? I got 6 more days to go. So I just got totally taken out. And then he kept coming up to me asking me all kinds of questions, like intimidating me and talking to me like down about how little hash I brought to the party. So I was just like devastated there eating. I was like, thank you for this grape leaf and something else. I was just like really ashamed to be sitting like and just grateful at the same time. It was weird. I was grateful and ashamed. It was just the strangest feeling. And so then he kept harassing me. And then like towards the end he says, well, something about, do you like this hash? And I said, yeah, that was my personal head stash. That was like what I had, you know. And I said, I hope that you enjoyed it. And he says, oh yeah, we enjoyed it. And the only problem is it's just there wasn't enough of it. And he asked me if I had more. So I said, no, I don't have any more. You took everything that I had. And he goes, well, something. He just kept drilling me about next time I try to come to a party that I better have 10 grams. And then I was thinking in my head, you're only allowed 5 grams on you. So I was like, shit. All right. So next time you see me, I'll have 10 grams of hash on me.
Hell yeah.
It was like a bully thing. It was like, the next time I see you, you better have 10 grams of hash on you.
That's just because he loved it so much. He wanted more.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get to judge, you know, a small amount. But I don't like the judging aspect personally. I think it should just be done the way the sadhus do it at Shivaratri in Nepal and Kathmandu, which is basically, you know, they'll get together, they have all their hashes are out on plates, they put the plates out on a table, buffet style, and the best will get smoked. It won't be a contest in any sorts. Everyone hones in on the best fast. They want to get as much of it as they can. It's gone before you know it. The plate that's empty is the plate that wins. And there's no winning. It's just that it's an acknowledgement more than anything. Maybe you found the nicest charas that year. Bless you. Bless you, Tony.
I mean, it's kind of like that. You guys kind of, I mean, it's kind of hilarious. It's like a 3-hour process. I remember one time that I was like smoking and eating, and all I could think about was like, I don't have any more like it was like my last hit, and I did that with Buddha, but I kept looking over, and like once in a while I'd see like somebody that had like a jeweler eye thing on. It was like up in the hash, like this. I think it might have been John. I don't know, but somebody was like looking at hash, like intensely looking at this hash, and then went like this. Like had to take a breath because they were in such long connection with the trichome or something that was going on, and they were just like really intense on it. So there was no like, and then it was like these little micro dabs that you guys were doing. Like,
oh, some of that hash was so tasty, and there was so little of it. We didn't want to. That's why we're taking such little dabs of it, and it really came down to the end. That was it. There was so little amount because
Except Dave.
We got there.
Dave takes full-size hits no matter what. Even if there was only a full-size hit of each one, he would definitely just be like, "Well, that's ridiculous. You know, they should have brought more, man."
They should have brought more.
No, that's it. You took it all. Well, come on, you got to have more.
No, that was it, man.
That's awesome. We love Dave. And in fact, you know, from the real perspective, it's like I've had that perspective as well. I've had an interesting time when I first met him and sort of became his friend. There was definitely somewhat of a, I wouldn't say a hazing, but sort of a, you definitely had to get through this very external, strong, sort of professor-like, whatever you'd call it, personality. Hey, we're up to 235 viewers. Look at that. Hello, everyone out in YouTube land. And if you have something to say, I guess I could go into the chat and read, because I haven't really done that much today.
No, I've been self-concerned.
That's strawberry. Lemon strawberry sour bubblegum.
Can you ask Johnny B how the LED test light is going? How's the LED test light, Johnny B?
It is doing absolutely fabulous. I just did a little video today on it. I've just switched everything over. They'll be going into flower pretty soon. We've had some recent people that have been finishing off with it, and they're saying they're not getting the trichrome development that they were expecting. But the veg so far it's phenomenal. But we know how LEDs work in veg, right? So the real test is going to start next week when I go to 12. So.
Nice.
I got an LED going right now that's really small. We got a G8 600 on one side and a Lush, what is it, a Dominator 2XL on the other. And we're in week 4, I believe, so I'll be able to
that's nice, hey?
No, in the flower, and there's lots of trichrome on there. Well, I'll be happy to show you guys in a few weeks. But,
yeah, I've got the 2XL Dominator as well as the John brought me one of those, I don't even know what we're supposed to call it, but one of these other LED lights. So I have them both. Only one's vegging plants right now. The other one is still in the box. Trying to figure out where to put it. Yeah, I found the XL, the 2XL. I only really vegged with it, but it was good.
Yeah. I'll show you guys what it finishes off like.
There's a light that I saw that was very interesting by a friend. His name's Brad with Summit Lighting, and he's got a UL approval, and the power company here gives you 30% off of the usage on it, and he's running a 315 watt equal to 1,000 watt without ceramic, and they in the bulbs they usually push out the light and refract back in. So he's kind of reversed that wave frequency and used a ceramic kind of like filter that, and the way this glass is done pushes the spectrum towards the center. So there's no heat on it either. And a lot of people have been switching over to that here. And I haven't got my hands on the lights yet, but it looked really interesting. I saw side-by-side rooms with bigger yields. I haven't got my hands on the idea how with the trichome is or anything like that.
Yeah, bigger yields of vegetative growth or like resin production?
They look like bigger buds, bigger yields in general. But it was a 315 light with 30% discount from the power company that has no heat, that doesn't need a lens, was outperforming 1,000 watt in a hood with glass. Like a high
pressure. That's cool.
Power consumption. That's excellent.
Yeah.
I will have to say the LED light is never veg some plants like they're doing phenomenal, as in I've never had certain strains so healthy with this new LED light, so I'm pretty happy with the veg on it. I'm a little nervous about going into flower because I'm hearing some different things, but you know what, it's one light, it's 6 plants, we'll see how it's going to do. But for veg, I'm really...
Ceramic metal highlights.
Johnny, you're going to have to get your ass over here and take a look at the LEDs.
Yeah, I know. I've been home for days. I'm slowly getting it. This fucking chicken outside my window. My cat would like to say hello.
Strawberry life, G.
I was gonna say that looks like a sneezer, Tony. Right before you sneezed, I thought, yeah, he's gonna sneeze.
Oh, the door's open. You can actually breathe in now. I'm puffing on 8 different kinds of hash.
Hey, John.
Terps.
Ecto jelly. So this is what I know.
I want to try that. I'm so interested in getting on a lot of the stuff that you have.
Well, are you going to go to any places that I'm going to be going to that we run into each other so I can...
We'll definitely be seeing each other in Amsterdam.
Okay. Well, I haven't found anything in the laws that doesn't allow me to travel with terps.
It's a nice thing. I don't think there's anything in the laws that I think I would do the same thing.
Which is my favorite country to puff hash in? Jeez. I would answer the one that I'm currently in at any given time. Is that a good answer?
Well, it's because, I mean, that's really the hunt. As soon as you get into a new country or a new place, it's like immediately about head.
I have had an incredible blessing being who I am and sharing the information I have over the last 15 plus years. People have been very kind to me whenever I've traveled. I've always met cool people. I mean, you even saw a few of them in Spain, just people that came from out of nowhere to show us beautiful melty resins that were kind of like, it was just, it's like that almost anywhere I go, because there's always at least a few, like, literally, I was looking at my YouTube channel the other day, and out of the 200... I'm going to block that for a second, sorry, buddy. That was very loud and terrific. Out of all the 212 or 220 countries, I think my YouTube channel has been seen on 198 of them. So that's like most of the world. All right, that's you, Johnny B.
John! That's you, buddy.
I know I gotta mute him, it's fine. It should be okay.
Well, this is for you, John.
Terps!
Lemon G13 Terp Hit.
Do that, Kim, for
Terp reps.
Take 4 hits before I take it. Look at Horatio.
I was actually thinking, I saw Kenny the other day.
I'm so jealous of your lighting.
And what about my lighting?
I keep telling you, bro, it's like, it pulls me into like Pulp Fiction. I feel like you're inside the briefcase. You are what is inside the briefcase of Pulp Fiction.
I wanted to move
an old fridge. And Horatio.
Was in my way, and I'm like, this stupid fridge gotta go. And then I'm like, oh no, Hash Church will ask me what happened to the fridge. I better just leave it for another week, and I'll figure it out later. It's gonna screw with my lighting.
The stress of Hash Church. It's already stressing people out. Maybe we should stop doing this. I don't know.
Is it getting too glitterati already?
It's just that you have this great lighting, and we all don't, Horatio.
You guys have all this great hash, bud, and terps floating about, and all I got is lighting.
All right, well, take that lighting and grow some resin.
It's coming. The power company is coming. Soon enough.
Okay, someone asked me about dry ice and why I said not to use it, and I say this is why. A, dry sifting is done best with dry material. If you don't dry the material first and the wax membrane of the glandular trichome stays moist, it causes problems later on in the actual drying and curing of the final product. Secondly, dry ice creates a ton of contaminant. It allows the whole plant to get so brittle cold that when you shake it, much of the plant breaks off into smaller pieces and falls because there's no water and no ice. Dry sifting is a counterintuitive process. You don't want to shake the shit out of the thing and have a ton of stuff fall. We know as dry sifters that when we're making it, it's a more gentler touch. There's a few little tricks involved that can help you enormously in the end when you're forced to clean what you've contaminated your hash with. Decontamination is the hard part. Contaminating super easy. And if you really want to contaminate the shit out of your hash, then I implore you, definitely use fresh frozen material and dry ice. You can get as easily a 90 to 95% contaminant ratio versus 5 to 10% glandular trichome heads. It might make you feel good from a prohibition standpoint to see how much you got, but from a reality standpoint, when you realize there's only really 5 or 10% of those heads are in there, it lifts the veil. It's like eating that what is it? The blue pill in the Matrix? Is the blue pill the one where he ended up in the rabbit hole and everything was unleashed, and the red one was the one where he goes back to reality? Can anyone confirm?
I don't remember which pill had the bad terps in it.
Blue pill did.
Yeah, didn't the blue pill wake him up though?
The blue pill woke him up. The red pill was going back to his original reality.
Right. So there it is.
But I had one more question on the dry ice. People keep coming, like, I'll tell you how I got scammed when I got dry ice and fucked up a whole bunch of shit. Luckily, I was able to extract that contaminant pile and save it. But the bleaching dry ice seems to give people this illusion that blonde colors is yield. And that's why they shake this shit more and are attracted to YouTube videos where people beat the shit out and show a bunch of blonde stuff. Do you notice that bleaching seems to be what grabs people's attention, that it must be yield?
Do I notice that?
Yeah, like I thought, like I noticed it, I'm like, I put in green, but it comes out light brown, and then when I wet it to extract it, it turned all brownish, like dark brown again, and I was like, oh, it wasn't bright brown at all. It seemed to be just... And I looked that up in other food terms, and I'm like, yeah, I can use dry ice to keep things like blanch blonde and distort the colors of food. And then I was like, oh, shit, it's happening to the weed, and that's why I thought I was getting something, but I wasn't using a microscope.
Right, yeah, the microscope
seems to be people who get burnt by dry ice.
I think although what Darrin was talking about earlier in regards to the sort of connoisseur, that bioassay, the person who's been smoking and growing all these years, and how they will know within a certain amount of that something's good or if it's contaminated. And I just where I was going on that, I kind of just lost, but I had a really good point. Maybe I need to puff another bowl real quick to get it back.
I mean, I remember what I made, and when I thought it was good, because I was like, my buddy's bringing me this green stuff, and my stuff's brown. And then later I was like, how come this isn't anything like the bubble hash I used to buy at the Herb Museum? And then I realized, I'm like, something's wrong. I just can't prove it yet, which is the case with everything. So eventually it would be that, yeah, it's brittle and it incinerates the plant into microscopic space.
Particulate.
Which pretty much reflect light back brighter, but they're not necessarily brighter themselves. It's just they've been super shredded to make themselves look bright.
The new hash nanny cam. All right, Horatio's taking a dab. Dred's taking a dab. I just took a dab. And good. We're ranging in on our last 40 minutes here at Hash Church, and we've just kind of been shooting the shit today, not really talking about any particular thing.
I'll do a dab.
I can't even really remember exactly what we've been talking about other than hash and cannabis and our love of all things phytocannabinoid related.
We're talking about the history of hash.
Yes, the history of hash. I did pull out this book from earlier, an essay on hashish. This book is from 1912 originally. This is a second edition from 1925, and this one I believe is also signed by the author. I read a little poem out of here earlier. Definitely an interesting book from the early 1900s to read about. To read what they were thinking about cannabis and hashish in particular, and they were eating hash and they were eating large amounts of it. So it's quite something to read about. Some of the experiences they were having were psychedelic in nature, more so than the mild euphoric feelings.
So they're eating like mostly THCA.
Yeah. Well, they were getting destroyed, whatever they were eating, whether they were somehow having it decarboxylate by cooking with it or acquiring it and having it heat up. I have no idea because I haven't read the whole book, but I read some of the essays and they were getting destroyed.
Well, why don't you open up a chapter and read from the book to tell us how we get destroyed from old hashish days?
From the old hashish days? Well, that's what I was kind of doing earlier. The hemp was doing its work. In a shrill voice, my brother was exclaiming, what foolish people to leave just when the show was beginning. The ladies came back, and it was a show. He grew most of... just a second here. I'm going to write. My hands are just a peculiar idea of themselves. No. No.
I was thinking more specifically when they talk about are they using a tincture? When you say they're eating it, is there a recipe in there? Is there some kind of...
Yeah, no, I don't know, but I bet you we could Google it easy enough. I bet you Google would be much quicker.
From last week's poem, and I mean, I knew and I didn't say anything, but the soma juice recipe is an argued over Hindu Vedic tradition, psychedelic experience that people always argued was cannabis, but how the juice preparation was made.
All right.
I mean, that goes back 5,000 years, that recipe.
This is only the early 1900s, but here's a thing. He says he was like he came home feeling very tired. This was in March 4th, 1910. I found that some cannabis indica, which I had expected, had arrived. Now that's probably a tincture, but he might mention it. After supper, while finishing up an article, I began to debate with myself whether I should join the hashish eaters that night. The argument ended in my taking 20 minims at 9 o'clock. So 20 minims, what is that? That's a scientific term for like droplets, isn't it? Someone want to Google that? M-I-N-I-M-S. He took 20 minims at 9 o'clock. I was alone in the room and no one was aware that I had yielded to temptation. An hour later, I wrote in my memoranda book, absolutely no effect. At 10:30, I completed my article and entered this note. No effect at all from the hemp. By this time, I was exhausted and being convinced that the hashish would not act, I went to bed in disappointment. I fell asleep immediately. I hear music. There is something strange about this music. I have not heard such music before. The anthem is far away, but in its very faintness there is a lure. In the soft surge and swell of the minor notes there breathes a harmony that ravishes the senses of sound. A resonant organ with a stop of sapphire and a diapason of opal diffuses endless octaves from star to star. All these moonbeams form strings to vibrate the perfect pitch, and this entrancing unison is poured into my enchanted ears. Under such a spell, who can remain in bed? The magic of that melody bewitches my soul. I began to rise horizontally from my couch. No walls impede my progress, and I float into the outside air. Sweeter and sweeter grows the music. It bears me higher and higher, and I float in tune with the infinite under the turquoise heavens where globules of mercury are glittering. I come on unhindered wanderer through unbending space. No airship can go here, I say. I am astonished at the vastness of infinity. I always knew it was large, I argue, but I never dreamed it was as huge as this. I desire to know how fast I am floating through the air, and I calculate that it must be about 1 billion miles a second. I am transported to Wonderland. I walk in streets where gold is dirt, and I have no desire to gather it. I wonder whether it is worthwhile to explore the canals of Mars or rock myself on the rings of Saturn, but before I can decide, 1,000 others' fancies enter my excited brain. I wish to see if I can concentrate my mind sufficiently to receive something, and I succeed in correctly quoting this stanza from a favorite poem which I perpetually reread.
Come into the garden, Maud, for the black bat night has flown. Come into the garden, Maud, I am here at the gate alone. And the woodbine spices are wafted abroad, and the musk of the rose is blown. So I think he's pretty high. What do you guys think?
He said he took 20 minims.
Minims, yeah. Did you Google that, Tony?
Yeah. So what that is the alternative it's like the alternative pharmacopoeia's definition of a drop. So he took
okay, so I was correct. So he took 20 drops, and I'm guessing it was probably an alcohol tincture, judging from that time. And if you Google the tinctures that were pharmaceutically available of cannabis and hashish, it's interesting that they would call it hemp hashish, and then use the term minims that states that it would be a liquid concentrate. It's very...
Well, here's the thing. It must be really concentrated, because 20 minims is about, 24 drops, but it's only 1.2 mils. So it's not a lot, to get wasted. So it must have been, it could have been given in resin.
Well,
it could be slightly resin.
Yeah, so if they put, what if they dissolved just straight hashish?
Yeah, it would have been dissolved like hash in those days. It wouldn't just be like extracted plant. You wouldn't go to the trouble. You would just...
Yeah, there you go, exactly. They're doing a concentrated from hash.
There's probably 1,000 milligrams. There's probably a gram in each one of those tincture vials. There's a probably good 1,000 milligrams of hash in there.
Yeah, me and the old lady are going to fuck off tomorrow.
20 drops.
Rip down, grab some
20
cash.
drops could have been like 20 drops back then. There could have been like 100 to 200 milligrams of THC.
Yeah, it'd be about that.
Well,
there you go. We got his dose and we know where he went. Let's go.
Yeah, 100 to 200 for someone not experienced is pretty strong.
Yeah, but he also was probably using it's 1925, so let's think of the timeline.
It's pretty good hash.
Yeah, I'm sure the hash was unadulterated at that point. There was no real purpose for them to...
It would be just enough before the Industrial Revolution for the countries producing hash, so it'd still be horse shit and chicken shit and sunlight and the good stuff, where it had to grow where it was regionally appropriate. So yeah, you could get somewhere. I remember, even Green Dragon tincture, just drink it and cut with dissolved hash. It'll take you there.
So good. Wow. Yeah.
That just became my new favorite for being it's potent.
Dan's got the screens out. Looks like it's time to make some hash. Horatio's vaping like a fiend.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm not sure what LaFumo's doing, but he's doing it.
Horatio, have you seen these ones for your vapor pens yet?
Yeah, I was there when he was designing them at the lab. He was holding me up from getting filters. I think I bought one for crew support, but I don't use these.
You bought one at Eden the other night when we were there together. Yeah, he was there.
Pretty much crew support, but I don't use extracts on vape pens. It aggravates me unless I'm stranded. Stranded. But I have it, and I'm like, how can I use this with my vape juice somehow, maybe, for fun?
This is for vape juice.
Am I getting it again? Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're getting to watch Tony use it all up.
You can put that vape juice I found on the elements. Actually, I have one right here. Horatio, I'll show it to you next time I see you.
Well, that was crazy. I just had a stellar blue jay in my Congolese plant.
So you know what's what in these?
I do.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't need to tell you.
Let me see that dropper.
And here? See these?
You guys are fiending on the terps, by the way.
It's gonna become Yeah, that's the thing about those terps. It seems to be some type of crack for hash smoke. And then they go mad, and then it's all gone. And then Tony's like, "You should have made more terps."
Why do I share all the terps?
I need like 5 liters of this for me and my friends. And like the poor
Me and my friends.
and all the glasses spinning, and the bud's just, I need this for my back. I need terps.
If we're about to do like this.
All right. So I do have a page on Facebook, and it is the address of this page. If I can find it, to let people know in chat who are asking, because it seems like it's a real confusing where to locate me, to private message me to get the link into this chat room. Okay, so it's facebook.com/freshheadies.bubbleman. That's it. It's one of those community pages, and who the fuck is banging like crazy? I gotta mute that shit. That is just so not what I want to hear. Sorry. All right, I believe I muted it. No, I did not. It's like my camera's not letting me mute people.
See, I go like this right on here.
I think that worked. There we go. If you guys aren't talking, by all means, please mute your mic, especially if you don't realize and you start moving a bunch of shit. It just it causes a bunch of sort of background noise, tends to cut other people's mics out. And it's easy enough to avoid by just clicking the old mute button. We all have one. It's right on the top of the screen. And if it's not there, when you move your mouse up there, it appears. And you can just click it real quick. I also have the ability. So I will do that when I can, but sometimes I just get real baked and I forget. Thank you for listening to my small rant. Back to Hashish.
So, do you think at some point we're going to have a Hash Eaters, Hash Church episode? That's going to be a long episode. And do we eat before the church starts or during the episode?
Ooh, that would be pretty intense. I mean, you know,
an hour episode if it gets wacky.
It really depends on what you're eating for, you know, because you can microdose and you can eat to saturate or you can eat to destroy.
Well, I mean,
Are we looking to annihilate, or are we just looking
I mean, there's a lot of people that would look at the amount we smoke on this show and consider themselves annihilated. So, I mean, even in the eating world, it's, can you handle annihilation? But yeah, it would be to annihilate. We're reckless. You know, we're reckless men on a Sunday, safe at home.
It'd be fun setting up the camera so you could just lay down and pass out on the floor and have like 3 hours of video of just dude unconscious, not even moving like at all.
There'd be no ability. Like, yeah, all the mutes would go wacky and cats would be climbing on bodies. It would be good.
The best would be when everyone woke up and we're just like, wow, I feel great.
Yeah, and I just go back to like smoking and vaping at my desk and just not even know I'm being recorded.
Yeah, and then just, you know, like have a bunch of, well, I won't go there. I was going to say a funny joke, but this is Hash Church and we are recording it, and I say that we stay on topic.
I did that joke, and I was like, pass.
You passed it over, and I said...
yeah, I read your mind, and I saw it.
Oh, yes. Well, I just finished the last of the CBD Renee dry sift, and I'll have to say it was quite nice. Very, very tasty. Renee tasting fruitiness with a little bit of something missing and something added. It changes it substantially. I had this D-nail sticker covered in it, and now there's just one tiny little piece on the end left. My one little piece on the end. Anyone else miss great hash when it's gone? Hard not to, when you have that great hash and then it's gone. It's like, oof. I mean, there's always more great hash in the queue, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I got 4 or 5 great kinds, maybe even more, but it doesn't make me miss it any less when I finish some great hash.
I finish great hash every day and make more.
Yeah.
What's that, Johnny B?
I said I finish my hash every day, great hash, and then I make more.
Of course.
all my first bounces is gone, so now I gotta wait another few months. So,
Excellent. 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 Everyone's dabbing up. Hash Church's getting quiet. I haven't eaten breakfast yet today. I was hoping on eating a little bit of breakfast during Hash Church today, but I just keep having more dabs instead. Breakfast will come.
You know what? I put the soup in the microwave this morning, and as you saw, and I still haven't eaten it.
You're still eating that soup, Johnny B.
Yeah, I'm still eating soup, man.
Oh boy.
Good, healthy soup. You know what? Fresh vegetables, fresh fruit. I'm eating more healthier than I ever have in the last year because I am. So.
How many pounds have you lost so far?
I never weigh myself, so I could just say that everything is looser. It's kind of like, I don't know how long I took that Jamaican. I have no idea. It just.
Well, how hip hop are your jeans now?
Yeah, you got like a thumb in each side, or are they really falling off you?
Well, they're falling off. Like I can pull them off type deal.
Don't do it.
It's pretty hip hop. Yeah, but I've had enough.
Yeah.
No
shows.
At this stage, it doesn't make a difference anymore. It's just about the hash.
Dirt melt.
Dabbing full melt dry sift every couple, like every half an hour, just like little dabs so I didn't cough. It was awesome. It was just like, that's all I kept thinking about is the micro dosing and stuff like that. I'm like, that's all I'm doing right now is micro dosing myself.
That's what I went through last week when I couldn't, and the week before when I couldn't cough because of my ribs. It was, I gotta smoke something, and these micro doses every 10 minutes. It's fun. It's annoying. It's fun. It's annoying. You still got some of that left?
Who, me?
This is Jenny's God Turp.
You just got all
God Turp. I was holding Sweet Skunk dry sift that I'm going to clean, and it just smells so effing lemony and delicious when you open up the jar, but that hazy, exotic lemony, not... I don't even know how to answer that, Robin. I'm not too sure that I'm very cool at all, actually. Can I make good foam or shatter? Well, the process that I use is to isolate and purify resin. How the resin looks is up to the grower. Crumble and shatter are methods that people that use solvent extractions use methods afterwards to whip or just change the how the oil looks. You know, all these different processes aren't really changing the cannabinoid profiles as much as really just changing how the oil is sitting, whether it's soft or hard or clear or buttery or. So we don't really do that with.
Well, they are changing the cannabinoid profile as they rob terpenes.
Well,
so,
sure, of course. They're changing the modulators, just not necessarily like they think that they're making it strong, better or whatever. They're improving the quality.
Yeah, but a lot of the processes actually degrade the profiles that were meant to modulate the, whether you register those cannabinoids. So, yeah, no, it is changing your experience totally.
Yeah, I was just
those processes.
I was just gonna say I found different forms, be it shatter or over shatter or honeycomb, with the exact same process made of the exact same plant will give you a different experience off the nail for sure.
Sure. Well, you've taken away the modulators, or you've taken away some of them. That's definitely going to change how it modulates.
Yeah.
There was the guy that asked that question about the dry ice.
Yeah.
So essentially, when you were talking about modulating, think of frequencies and thinking of what happens at different temperatures. So when you take cannabis down to -50, it almost shatters without water, and there's just particles everywhere. So that's how they do a lot of dry process for different plants and things that you can buy on the market. So dry ice hits -50. And so it just, I agree with what he's saying. There's a certain threshold and a certain frequency and a certain temperature that in which all you do is just incinerate it. It's something that I wouldn't recommend. The reason why you use fresh material or try to keep it cold at certain temperatures, you know, also temperatures you want to do that at, is to speed up the process in which you could do something by curing out the bud and then dry sifting and taking those glandular heads. So the idea, and the way I see it, is to get it so it's cold and brittle so you can actually gently separate those heads. And that's why, you know, if you did it the right way with water and ice and bags, I think that's the purpose of why people are doing fresh frozen or plants that have been frozen for a period of time. But there's a point where if you use dry ice and you're only -50, you're just going to contaminate the hell out of everything.
The happy time. Outdoor revolver behind it.
There's -50 right there.
Yep. Sand pack.
-50 degrees. You get your little tiny particles. Try separating your trichome heads now. Very hard.
I mean, I looked at it for other things where I was like, well, if I was trying to do, you know, some other exotic temporary process, like take my dry sift heads, then shatter them for presentation, then I could see where dry ice could do fun things. But that's presentation. When it comes to extracting, it's, yeah, because of those particles, people think they got more, but those people aren't from, they haven't evolved up to the microscope yet. That's why they think it's a win. So, I mean, just move up to microscoping the things you buy, and you realize what you buy is getting you high because it's contaminant city and it's a different buzz. They're not at the stage yet of flavors. They're still judging things by effects.
I think you can tell. You know, what's that the little trick that just it doesn't bubble? You know.
It ain't worth the fucking trouble. How about that Barb 99%? Booyah!
That shit's ridiculous.
It's what made me want to have the cut. That Barb cut is... Barb has done it. Before that, I saw the first strain ever. I'll give you guys a little history. The first strain I ever ran through the bags that showed me something worth having was the shishka berry. Before that, I had seen people run stuff through water hash bags that was just very unimpressive. It was early in the days, the first few months that they existed. Bubble bags came out within 8 or 9 months of the isolator bags, so they only had less than a year to be out before bubble bags was a competing force. And I just found that until I ran the shishka berry through my bubble bags, that's when I was like, holy shit, this is like a really nice product. And that's when people started looking at it and going, wow, like, this is a thing. And I think it's a similar thing to when I first got to smoke Skunkman Sam's Skunk #1 grown greenhouse killer, isolated into pure heads, 99% 9% ratio of heads. You can see those pictures on IC Mag back from 05, 06, 07. The first pictures that were really ever posted online of pure glandular trichome heads like that. And that was real door opener for me, no doubt. Seeing that such a thing could A, exist, and B, trying to learn about it the best that I could. And of course share it with people because, well, people want to be able to do shit. They want to be able to do this stuff themselves. So ideally, if you're figuring things out, part of the way you'd want to figure it out is to make it somehow available to people that just want to do it. And people really do nowadays more than ever, I think, with the onset of the internet, just really the last 10 plus years of the do-it-yourself community has really blown up.
Can't figure out what Bubbleman's going. I'm pretty hungry too. What do we got?
Yes, I am starving myself. Here at church, I have not had anything to eat, although when I left 5 minutes ago, I did wolf down a small pancake.
I saw you.
A small pancake.
Order some food. Let's order some food.
It was a pancake, Horatio. Come on.
I saw you scarf it in the background. You were still. You had after chew.
They have low meat, right? Huh? They have low meat, right?
Wahoo. Last 15 minutes just winding down. It's been a nice hash church. I've enjoyed hanging out and chilling with you guys. I was sorry that Dr. David Allen didn't make it in. I'm going to try and see if I can send out the link to a few more people for next week. See if I can get new blood in the room just to share some stories and go over some cool new things. We're always looking for cool new things that are happening in the industry. People want to get on the right page, and I think I have a lot of people ask me all the time, what can I do? How can I become involved in the cannabis world? How can I do, what do I need to do? And I'm just, it's a hard question to answer, but I try by saying, follow your passion, do what you want to do, like whatever you believe in is what you need, where you have an interest is where you need to delve in, particularly if it's cannabis, you want to be a part of cannabis. Cannabis is easy to be a part of because it's so multifaceted. It offers so many different perspectives, just depending on how you come at it. It's very vast. You can be a hemp farmer, you can be a cannabis grower, you can be an extraction, isolation hash maker. You can do a variety of different things. And just all I say is follow your passion. And you will find yourself in the place that you want to be as long as you allow yourself the ups and downs of that roller coaster ride and not jump off on the first down. Growing. I have cut my plants down, not down, but back. I've cut a lot of my plants back, gearing up for a winter grow. So they're all almost in stasis right now. I'm in the Jamaican out on the deck, and they're big kind of bushes. But I'll be cutting them back as well, clean and fresh. Probably have to hold back till December because I'm going to be gone for most of November. So it's not really worth me taking a bunch of fresh clones and getting a big grow going and not be able to be here to take care of it. So I will probably start it in December when I'm back, and I'll take fresh clones of everything and start through finish. And I'll do my standard Congolese, East Coast Sour Diesel, Sweet Skunk, Sativa Tent, and then I'll do the Jamaican and the Astro Boy and Ortega, Sweat Sock, and a variety of others. I have literally 30 to choose from, so I can only flower so many each time. And someone asking about dry sift versus bubble bags. Well, they are two different beasts. With bubble bags, you unfortunately lose water-soluble terpenes, but fortunately gain the no-brainer access to 99% glandular trichome heads, i.e. the water's doing the majority of the work. The ice is doing most of the rest of the work. Really, the hash maker's work is boiled down to properly breaking it up and drying it. And that's really mostly what that person's doing in that situation. Dry sifting is a little bit different in the sense that it's a more counterintuitive process that when you go to extract the resins, you're going to be extracting an enormous amount of the plant matter with the resin due to the fact that water is no longer taking care of decontamination for you. You'll see that most hash makers, I mean, if they're lucky, they'll get 50% glandular trichome heads. If they're super gentle and tapping and using super nice material, first screen is going to be at least 50% contaminant or much higher, and then it takes much work to decontaminate those heads. It is more of what I would consider. I think there's more technique to learn in the water extraction process, and I'm sure Darrin's itching to get in on this particular one because I can say from For Darrin, it took him quite a few weeks, months even, a couple of months, to really get it down, and he was doing it often. It's not like he was doing it once a week. He was really playing around, and it was like, he can attest how many fucking variables needed to line up and for him to understand they even existed before finally he was carding and getting full melt resin, which before, it's not like he's a dummy. He knows what full melt resin is, but when it came to dry sifting, it was different. It was always kind of like, what is it? Did I get it? And then when he finally got it, it was like, no, now you have it. And so with water extraction, I can show someone how to use the bags and how to make full melt 99% gland head hash in like an afternoon. Darrin understands that too. Would you not say that it takes more than an afternoon to learn how to make full melt dry sift?
Oh, it's simple. Anybody and their dog can fucking do it, man, in an afternoon. But it also takes a passion to do it that way, to do it right, to want to do it right. Myself, I want 3 washing machines so I can do 3 separate runs. One 30-second run, one 2-minute run, and one 30-minute run.
But compared to dry sifting, wouldn't you say dry sifting is a lot more work for you to get that 99% purity?
Yes. I'm surrounded by screens. Constantly, big, medium, smaller, everything, and I always, I got a screen right in front of me, right here, with sift on it that I sift, I constantly sift.
Beautiful. I'm gonna eat a sandwich while you tell us.
The first time that it took me to make it, I videoed you at like 2 in the morning, and I was like, how's that look? I got it, eh? And I get back, well, it's starting to sizzle. It still needs a lot of work. I was just like, oh, no. I was ready to say, fuck it, I'm not doing it no more. I think I said that about 3-4 times. Fuck this, you know? But then when I'm cleaning, and I got this card and my little things on it that he's talking about, variables that align accidentally, and I get to see with my own eyes one certain aspect of it, of contamination and cleanness, and just little tricks of cleaning it that I use. That it takes a while, but you know, I'll figure out other ways. I do want to get some different mining screen sets and that sort of stuff, so I could try that and maybe hook it up to some electrical to see if it'll separate it nicely. Just do a big battery or something, right? See what it does. But there's things I want to try, but what works is carding and fucking carding and carding some more. Even when I do it as gently as I can over the sheaf over the screens, I still gotta card the shit out of it because like you said, it's 50-50, right?
Hey.
It is a lot of work. John's got a pretty good method down for getting it fast, but it's not as it definitely doesn't take as long as mine. But it's the first bounce method there on the screen, and it produces some pretty beautiful shit from what I've seen. Just not.
Oh yeah, first bounce has been around a long time, and in fact, it used to be a heinous crime in the cannabis industry where people in the know had screens like that, and they would bounce pounds that they saw that came across their table. They'd just be like, oh, just give those a quick bounce. Back onto the market it went. And I'm sure it's probably where the majority of the beasters nickname used to come, which was like, you know, dudes picking up all these pounds and then bouncing them and then selling them.
Yeah, that's not right.
No.
But even this is from the grower when he just trims up his bud is what you don't realize. What I'd say 99% of the people they throw it away. So it's not like I'm bouncing my buds on screens and grinding it and trying to get everything off of that, because I really do appreciate having it all intact. It's just like that's what I show in my videos. It's just like flip. That's all I do. And if you don't have the screens, you're throwing it away. No matter which way you're looking at it, you're going to trim your weed up a bit, and that's what I get. Now, we've done videos at your place, Mark, where I've crushed my whole buds all over it, and then we've been, that's completely different. Or we just did really badly with all that second little thing. But no, definitely that first little bounce, you're growing your own, is whole grail stuff that normally never leaves my house. Because I don't get that much. It's not like I only get that little bit, right? So it's just enough for me. It's nice.
Yeah. Fuck, was it tasty? Holy. Beautiful.
It's my favorite.
Well, it's why I linked you guys up with the screens and the information, because I'm happy to see you guys
dude, like I said,
doing it. It's like when I hook up with my friends, I'm stoked when they have awesome hash.
Oh,
what kind of sick, twisted world do we want to live in where only the one person has great hash and everyone else has something that's subpar? I'm always happy when my friend's hash is like right on par with what I have. And I feel if all your friends' hash is not on par with what you're smoking, then you're doing something wrong.
You gotta teach them. Help them out.
Time
Help
for
your
that.
friend.
The best thing about it is people how to make their own hash.
He's done putting that.
Not that hard.
I'm gonna mute that until you figure out how to make it go away. Am I the only person hearing that?
I heard it.
Oh, that's
Okay.
crazy.
It comes through John's mic, and I'm not sure what it is. It sounds like an oboe or perhaps a flute, very badly out of tune. For whatever reason today, it's not really letting me mute. I don't know. Well, we only have a few more minutes left in Hash Church today. Might as well finish it off with some massive smoking, some extreme dabbing. Take more, Tony. More. 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 I'm just going to pour this whole thing over to... I'm going to dip this doghouse. I'm going to dip the doghouse right into here, okay? This is how you take hits in Bubbleman's world. Motherfuckers. Watch me get some crazy gnarly plastic rip where I just ignite the whole side of this container and take this huge monster plastic rip and turn green on camera and just be like, did you guys see Bubbleman like green out on the plastic jar?
Really?
Why is it that would be the most valid thing to share about this if one of us badly embarrassed our, just terribly embarrassed
like, he took a 20 billion ppm rip of some fucking plastic jar, and like Genial's freaking out because it's bubbling all over their equipment, and people are seeing blue smoke, red smoke.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
Oh, man.
Hey, it is what it is. Make believe. Remember that shit. Let's get access to the doghouse, shall we? There she is. Astro Boy going in.
My Little Pony.
Nice. Astro Boy's real darn tasty. Oh my god. That's delicious. Telephone's ringing, but I will not answer it. All right. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed chilling out and puffing bowls today. There's a couple of hundred people that came in and shared the video with us, got to watch us chatting about whatever we were talking about. I am so dabbed up at this point, and after that egg sandwich with the orange juice, I'm feeling pretty satiated, to say the least.
I'm starving.
You guys never ate?
Nope. We've been. My computer's about to die. I just wanted to say I had a good time. We never ate, and we just puffed down hard. I think a total of 2.5 grams in how many hours this time?
How many milliliters of terp sauce? Have you burnt up in all the internet and Facebook's angry, and you post it and upload as the amount goes down and down and down?
What's going on?
How much of your, very valuable G13 juice have you blown through?
I mean, I had some other drops, some Jenny's God drops, and I've got some Jilly, I've got some goo, I've got different ones, and the extraction is like, I've got it down to a really high. I mean, whatever the terp profile is, it's like an equal ratio, almost like a 90% or higher conversion. So if something has 10% terps or 5% terps, that's going to be the yield.
Yeah. You just go, like, would you think of making a perfume for people who actually want it aromatherapeutically rather than dabbing it?
Of course.
Just go further?
Yeah, of course. He's like, just go further.
Damn, dude, you were the man. I can't tell you. I just literally remember just telling you about this, and now you're like, you fucking got the patents for it. You're fucking doing the perfume industry. Like,
yeah,
I can't wait to fucking taste this shit, dude. You're moving on another realm. You're like, dude, I've already designed some other shit you don't even know about, dude.
You don't know about my G13 Louis Vuitton perfume, Fashion World of Buzz.
Well, there was
I want a liter.
We did a perfume like 3 years ago.
Can we go to Morocco and turn an entire field into a 55-gallon barrel drum of terpenes? That's my question. Now the field will be 7 miles long.
Yes.
That'd be sweet. You know what? You couldn't do that in Morocco because guaranteed it would smell and taste like Morocco, and that's just...
It tastes like a Moroccan 55-gallon drum.
Somebody had...
Morocco's amazing and beautiful, and I want to go there. I've never really... Somehow the hash all tastes a similar way, no matter what strain it is grown there. It's like the earth, something like the sun. I don't know. It just creates a profile that's very specific. Like I would be very confident in knowing if someone put hash in my pipe, if it was from Morocco, I would be able to tell them.
Do you think their equipment has, like, like I can see in socialism where like, everyone's using the same cheap screen? I don't know. It's been thousands of years, and like, it's got to be in the soil then. Like I can look at that region, and it's probably in the soil.
Right.
You're probably right.
I've never seen any other than the water hash 45, which is anyone that knows water hash, they understand the 45 is very similar almost always, no matter what strain you run. It's the oil content, the terpene content in the 45 will be higher if tested separately from the other microns, almost always. It's the first hash that ignites into flame when you're lighting it in a bowl. It'll literally take flame because it's got such a high oil content. And other than that, I don't really ever see things that are that like constant.
I agree.
There's other things Morocco grows notoriously that have its own fame. So I could see how their soil might produce something that shows up in just the resin heads.
Mm. Well, you know what? Maybe going there and smoking the local hash and seeing what people have of their own will change my mind on that. I was very, very impressed with the quality of the hash in Spain at Cannabis last year. It was, or this year, whatever year that was, a couple months ago. It was very quality. There was like full melt, drippy, clear domes, like super quality resin shown to me by at least like half a dozen people, different growers in and around Spain.
Like more backyard growers taking advantage of the sun and basically making it more of a garden project. They just getting higher quality.
Well, I mean, one of the first hashes we smoked in Spain was from a guy by the name of David, and he was from the south of Spain. And he was a grower that was growing like strains that I guess DNA might have been helping him get, because he had like cookies and a bunch of other things, but they were all full melt and red and delicious. I ended up smoking his hash with DNA upon landing in Barcelona. We were on the flight with them, so we took the cab back to their apartment, and when we got to the hotel, the lady was like, "There's a package for you," and I remember Don holding it up and going, "This is called El Hashish, or El Bubble Hash, or whatever." Like, it was just so funny because it's so chill. Like, oh yeah, there's the hash that we just got at the hotel. Like, we're checking into the hotel, and they just gave us this awesome hash. It's on the video. I photographed it with the macro lens. It was red and just epically beautiful, Horatio, like special type shit. And that was the first hash we saw. From there, we ended up seeing David from Ripper Seeds, who gave us Zombie Kush, which was of epic quality. My good buddy Javier from Medical Seeds, he had like 15 different kinds of awesome hash and oil. You would have fucking loved it, Horatio. He wrote a book about extraction down there, and he does every process. Like, he literally does like a dozen chemical processes. He does water hash. He's now doing dry sift, and he's kind of compiled it into one big book. But whenever I go to his place, he's got, admit it, John, who has a more impressive stash than Javier?
The hibachi, like steak and lobster or steak and shrimp.
Dude, shit is so good. Like, I'm telling you, like, you saw it, Tony. It was impressive.
Oh, yeah.
Just to have, like, especially at Cannabis, where he just had it with him at his booth. He was like, "Oh, here, check this out." And he's, like, passing it around. And it's just this tray with, like, beautifully, like, separated and packaged resins that are all marked exactly what they are: strain, process, micron, whatever's the impertinent information, he has it on there. So I salute, I salute them all because they were all quality, but I really do salute Javier for just taking it almost to the next level and really, like, really loving that shit.
Yeah, his presentation and passion for the plant as a grower, a breeder, and a hash maker deserves world recognition for sure.
I want to, my next video that I'm doing is on our visit with Javier, but I have never been able to really find the information that you put on my hard drive. I think it's in a weird folder that I have to open through Final Cut Pro, and I never do it that way. I always do it from raw folders, so one day I might have to get just that shit from you again, of just the visit to Medical Seeds, because I have some footage, but it's pretty choppy and kind of just like taking it in the background of you really filming and being the main filmer on that particular trip. So.
Yeah, you'll be happy to know that I had to buy a whole new computer system and bought everything brand new in the last several weeks.
Nice.
That's what
Not that you had to, but I'm glad that you did.
Well, you kind of have to, because when you plug in 3 different drives that have been all around the world, for some weird reason, no matter what you think, your computer sometimes doesn't like that kind of stuff.
Almost always.
And so I just said, you know what? I went to the store and I said, I need to be able to plug these drives in. I need to be able to open Final Cut. I need to do what I need to do. And if there's some kind of error going on, I need to get in there. I need it fixed. I need to get into action. So I have everything humming now on the new computer. And I promise you, before I see you in the dam, there will be many, many videos coming out.
Awesome. Very exciting. Well, I'm stoked on that. I've also going to try and put out as many as I can in the meantime. These videos are a good way to sort of get the word out to the people and build the audience. And I love the idea of just building it back up for really, like, you know, that sort of travel around the world, hang out with different cultures, do different interviews. Really kind of like the thing we started in Spain, but with maybe just a little slightly different, you know, more hash making, more grower interviews. I loved, oh, Tony's computer just died. I loved in Jamaica when John and I were able to, you know, interview the growers and talk to the growers, and, you know, they've got pertinent information that only a local grower could have. No matter how much you think you might know about a place, the guy who lives there and is doing the job is going to know it better. Wouldn't you guys agree?
and learned a lot.
Oh yeah, on-ground experience of all kinds of things. Like if you met those growers, eventually you might figure out what they're putting in their soil that makes all the hash taste the same.
In Morocco.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Could be just too much phosphate.
They're asking if TGA is going to make Astro Boy available. They are not. I talked to Sub and said that he should potentially look at re-releasing it, and at that point he's not. I've since given it to many different people, all sorts of different breeders. And I would suspect, if I had to guess, that potentially Matt might be the first most likely one to produce either a pure Astro Boy that he selfs, or an Astro Boy catatonic CBD Astro Boy, or something along those lines. He seems to be a fan of crossing catatonic with everything. He's got a new line that's definitely the CBD line. Yeah, Astro Boy has been discontinued, exactly. Yes, Vancouver Seed Bank has the GG seeds for half price, but I will say this. Attitude ships to the U.S. and the Vancouver Seed Bank absolutely will not. The reason Attitude has those prices is because they ship anywhere in the world, and that's what you're paying for. I sure hope he does use it, Pocket Chunk. I sure hope he does. Maybe if he gets more people saying, hey, please use the Astro Boy, he'll consider it. It's quite possible. Yes, the Astro Boy. One of my good friends actually bred that for Subcool and TGA. He was in the TGA group. He was known as Bad Boy. And he was doing another breeding project with Apollo 13 male pollen, and I guess the room that had it had Ortega crossed with C99. And I don't know what they called that, but that's what was in there. And the male pollen from the Apollo 13 smacked that, and that's what ended up being the Astro Boy. Welcome back, Tony and crew. Your computer died. You might be muted right now. I don't know. I can't hear you.
My computer died.
Oh, yeah. There you go. So I was just talking to the people in chat, in the YouTube chat right now. There's a couple hundred people in there, and they're asking a few different questions. And one of the things I kept hearing that came up over and over again is how expensive Attitude is. And I was just kind of going over why that is. Yes, Michigan Farmer, they will resend packages if they're taken. They do ship, I believe, to the U.S. Unless Attitude has stopped shipping to the U.S. They sure did for a while. I think that was sort of their deal as to why they grew to such good success. Everyone wants to smoke the Astro Boy. It's flavorful shit. I think a lot of the flavor comes from Cinderella 99, that original old school cut from Mr. Soul.
Yeah, but
that was Tasty Tasties. I traded a set of bubble bags for the original seeds in 1999, if you can imagine.
Yeah. I'm doing it right now.
Mr. Soul.
Astro Boy was the best fresh frozen bubble hash I'd ever smoked. Ever. Tastiest fucking dessert candy hash.
Remember how strong it tasted in the bong after you smoked? You were smoking other hash through the bong?
After I'd smoked the OG Kush bubble hash, not like the dry sift that I made in that bong, I still tasted the Astro Boy, and that's never happened. It's the OG is always the dominating one. It's so strong. It always overpowers the other flavors. The Astro Boy, after it was burned in the bowl, still tasted like it after I burned the OG in it.
Yeah, because it's rank.
Wow, it was crazy fucking tasty, and it's such a sativa that it fucking almost stressed me out a bit. Man, it's so strong.
Yeah, it does create that sort of racy sort of like. Whew.
You got to get up and walk around the room a little bit, get a little breath, sort of laugh at yourself for a second.
Agreed. Yeah.
It comes with a little shrimp too.
What's the flavor profile? Well, the flavor profile is very fruity. Here, let me hit a bowl, although I'm finding now that this Astro Boy is cured, out for quite a few months. It tastes substantially different from when it was fresh frozen, but let me take a rip real quick.
I got some in here.
I'm gonna do the scallops so we can mix it up. You like scallops? What about lobster and chicken?
Well, it's fruity as fuck. It's definitely got the or undertones or whatever that deep, deep satiating feeling in the depths of my throat is a very fruity taste. There's a different kind of fruity taste on my lips. Almost a more concentrated, less diluted fruity taste, but a little bit different when you hit that Astro Boy, and it's like Darrin said, it's very racy. So as you try to focus on the flavor, it gets up all in your head, sativa style, and starts like racing. So it's like almost hard to judge the flavor of it because it really is a racy high. Like I just got a wicked boost.
I was just gonna say
one that says leave this table now and go for a ride.
I'm gonna go make a sandwich.
I just had a sandwich.
I seen that. Kind of made me hungry.
Yes, the Astro Boy is often
talking.
What's that?
I'm ordering food in the background online as you've been talking. Hibachi.
Awesome. And burning resin?
Yep.
Killer. Respect, Tony. One time I was hanging out with D420K at the Vapor Lounge and he ordered a fucking pizza.
Who did?
Darrin did.
I did. I was hungry.
And that was a nice looking pizza.
I'm diabetic, so when I'm hungry, I gotta eat. That's the way it is, man.
That's the way it is, man.
I liked it. Even though I didn't have any.
Oh, remarks?
Well, I had meat on it. Meat.
Hi.
Yeah, it's a momentary brain scrambler.
Had two of them.
What is Horatio's Facebook?
Horatio Delbert.
Horatio Delbert.
Okay, guys, been fun. Been a slice with y'all. I'll see you next Sunday.
Give thanks for coming out, Darrin.
Take it easy, guys.
Hey, buddy.
You gonna go make hash? Yep. He's going to make hash. There's no doubt about it.
Yes, sir. I'll hit that holy grail.
All right. Well, we have filmed for 3 hours.
You've been filming these things?
Yeah, for 3.5 hours. They go up on.
I had no idea you were filming them before.
Come on, of course. That's what it is. Live church. It turns into a show. 10,000 people watch each episode.
Unbelievable.
That's why you got that nice lighting behind you with God rays and stuff.
Yeah, Tony's going with the God ray light. Hey.
All right.
I'm actually in the
dark room.
That's how you do it.
Oh no. I'm sitting here. I think I put the wrong credit card number in.
All right. Is this how we're gonna?
4, 2, 5, 6, 7. I think we got it
right. There we go. Soften that light up a little bit. Whoa. Let's brighten up that temple there. I just got to brighten up my temple real quick. All right, there we go. Bunch of light freaks.
Look at that lighting, Dread. What do you think of that? See the lighting on me? Yeah. I've got these ablaze.
It's going to get pretty prima donna-ish by next week.
Well, we will leave you with the beautiful Jesus-like posture of Tony. Hey, are you puffing a doobie?
He is.
Damn.
Yep. Some of that Holy Grail kush.
Really?
Where is Robert Connell Clark? That is the question. I would guess potentially in Asia, fishing, or maybe back in Amsterdam where he lives.
soup, guys. Finally, talking about this for 3 hours.
What have we been talking about for 3 hours?
The soup.
I was gonna eat when you guys were eating the whole time. I finally took it out of the microwave.
Oh shit!
I ordered food.
Darrin wouldn't have had a sandwich.
I ate food during Hash Church, like wolfed down a sandwich. If you guys go back and watch it, I bet you I just annihilate that thing. Like,
The egg sandwich you ate earlier
yeah.
was so torturous to Dread and I.
No.
Well, you saw how I was harping on the pancake. I'm like, we can't be eating. I'm doing. Now soup. This episode's got to end.
Now soup.
What the hell is he eating? Is that elk stew?
No, it's carrots and celery and green onion and green pepper and yeah.
And rice.
There's a brisket in there somewhere.
Rice. There's stew in here. There's a little package of Lipton noodle, chicken noodle soup is in there for some flavor.
Johnny's favorite recipe: chicken noodle haggis soup.
Chicken noodle hotness soup.
You know what?
Haggis.
I like stomach. Makes me healthy. Gets me off of pizza.
Are you going to be going as the King of Holland for Halloween, John?
That's so funny.
Yeah, I am. I just got phone and I'm getting the haircut next week. No work.
Where's your collar? What size collar are you gonna wear?
I already have it.
Mr. Delp is down in California right now. I have never attended the Shambhala Music Festival.
Really?
What is he hitting? Horatio's got this weird box and a wire.
No, it's ripping it.
Ripping
Well, if I don't keep it on a wire, it'll run out of batteries 3 times an episode. You know, the way I use it. But,
What is
flour?
I vape terps and nicotine with a ton of vegetable juice in between my dabs.
Terps and nicotine?
With a ton of vegetable juice.
Vegetable.
You're smoking vegetable juice?
What's that taste like?
Vegetable glycerin? It tastes
wow. Yeah.
sweet. But, yeah, you know, I'm a crazy smoker, and, you know, I used to burn up a lot of card pizza boxes, you know, trying to get to my medicine in my day. So, you know, I understand, you know, flaming up a room, smoking it up, stinking of reefer and all that goodness. But, you know, as we get older, we get into hash, we try to tone it down. You know, I don't smoke cigars no more.
Do you add any water or anything else to the vegetable glycerin to break it down?
Well, I mean, with nicotine's already a juice, and the rest is just terps. Pretty much, it's the petroleum glycerin that turns vape juice back into a poison. So I eliminate that by, you know, blending down what I need. That's the stuff that I seen. I'm like, I tried it, and I'm like, this isn't gonna work. This seems like I've got a strep throat at the end of the night, and I'm supposed to be quitting smoking, but if you get your own VG and remove that element, then the harshness and the side effects go away, and then you can make up a storm like I do with no real effects.
All right, Tony, go.
I'm just absorbing that.
Well, I mean, I also looked at the hydrosols for a vape juice line, and I'm like, I can't do all these things. I can't do all these things in a day. I'm just one man with too much equipment and not enough material.
You smoke a lot. You vape a lot, though, huh?
Well, yeah. I mean, if any other era, and I'd be on fire with a cigarette. That's my character. So that allows me to live versus dying. I mean, I rolled my own, you know, 30 a day before the train, and, you know, would smoke organic Kentucky Select, and it was strong stuff. But with this, I'm down to 1/3 of the minimal dose of nicotine. So I vape at 2 milligrams, where the lowest you can sell is 6, and people buy 24. So I'm also living in a different world where the more I vape, the less nicotine I use. Because otherwise, at this amount, I'll get sick.
I wonder if there's a danger in nicotine.
It's isolated. That's the question, because there were so many other things going on in combustion that are extremely harmful, just like everything else, that there's no research. We're just going to either die of a different thing when we're 80.
It's true. I smoke e-cigarette.
Well, I mean, that's why I think the thing people are going to get sick off of is the PG. It's reintroducing that glycol. It's weird stuff, and it doesn't belong, and it's a petroleum product, and here we go again. What's that?
It's this little Bob Snodgrass marble. He came into town. I went and saw him with my friend Dredd, who's here on the show today.
Oh. Snotty. He came into my gallery years and years ago in like 2003 or 4 when we were doing all this glass stuff. And he showed up and it was just like, damn, dude. Fucking Snodgrass is in the house. We must be on to something here.
Good indicator, isn't it?
What's that?
Always a good indicator.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Especially for glass. I'm not even sure what that means, St. Thomas. I think it's pretty solid, if that's what you're asking. Glass packaging jars for hash. Who's got the address for a good place to get glass cosmetic jars for packaging hash?
In Canada or the U.S.?
In the U.S. My buddy's down in, like, Oakland.
Let's go with
Canada.
Come on.
I got containers of different types of hash everywhere, all in plastic containers, and some are good silicone and some aren't. So, yeah, we need containers. Because they even got these.
John, do you want to convert to glass, or are you bump prone?
Well, it's going to break a lot, I guess, but...
Well, then that's a reason not to convert to glass.
Yeah, you don't want to be breaking your shit. I had one glass one out not too long ago on the table, and when Flab lifted up his, like, priceless Marcel Deppy Fab egg, he took a puff, and then when he went to put it down, he put it down on the jar. You heard it go ting! But it didn't chip or do any damage at all, but whew, just for a second, I'm sure he was feeling it.
I had the little roar jars. They're broken.
I still have my little roar jars.
I just work around a lot of glass, so I guess I don't break any glass. Which is going to jinx today, so I'll probably break glass.
No, your tea cupboard. I got coffee, I got...
That's what you get, buddy. That's what you get.
I'm in love with you, girl.
Oh, really?
I'm in love with you, girl.
Which girl are you speaking of? This is... Ah, the Mary Jane, the Mary Jane.
I'm in love with you, girl.
Alright, this is the part of the episode where I start to turn into a pumpkin, and I want to go outside and farm before it gets dark.
Yes, well, it is the end of the episode on that note, so we can maintain chat in here for those that are hanging out. And for everyone else that's watching on the chat, I do thank you guys for showing up and spending a Sunday afternoon-morning with us. We'll see you guys next week, same time, same place, Hash Church. Thanks, everyone.
for coming and being a part of it.
Peace.